Hi, people. What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Run is back. I'm up early. Oh, should have been up earlier than that. I had some like weird dreams, but they were pretty good dreams. Oh my gosh. I can't talk right now. I'm called later. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. What's up? So today we're gonna do part 2. I woke up. You know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy to me? It's we spoke about this yesterday, but the video is on Patreon. If you want to check out my Patreon, it's called I Care About Black Issues. It doesn't have my name. I don't want to be attached to my name. But my Patreon is called I Care About Black Issues. So I did a video yesterday about Squid Games. Oh, thank you, Alonzo. But it's on Patreon. It's like $3. So you got $3 from me now. Come on. But a lot of my videos are on Patreon. But yesterday we spoke about how it's a lot easier for a woman, right? And since I'm for women, yes, women. I think all women really, but since we're black, we're gonna assume black women. But it's a lot easier for a woman to forgive men. You know, oh, thank you, Kevin. No matter how big the indiscretion, no matter how big the offense, no matter how big the disrespect, like it's so easier for a woman to forgive a man. But when it comes to a woman, forgiving another woman for the tiniest of infraction, oh, thank you, Zeffie. It is the hardest thing ever for her to do, right? And so we're going to go back to the thing because, you know, a lot of black women, please don't come for me, but you will probably come for me because when you're emotionally wired to love something, when you're emotionally wired, when you've been indoctrinated to put marriage on a pedestal, to treat marriage like the key of your salvation, to act like marriage is the end be all, like, oh, without marriage, you're not fulfilled. Without marriage, you're not accomplished, that you will just stay with just anything. I remember one time in Columbus, my pastor mom, she was like 80 something, 87, something like that. And she said to me, oh, Marlene, it's better to have a piece of a man than no man. I said, oh, Jesus, the standards, honey, the standards, okay? And we have to understand, like, when it comes to black people, I'm talking about the black diaspora, right? Historically, based on, you know, what these Europeans have done for us, do you know what I mean? It was hard for black people to make money globally, right? It is still really hard for black people to make money, right? Most likely black men made money. So they were the ones that had easier access to job because even though there was racism, even though there was colonialism, even though there was slavery, most men tend to promote men before promoting women. Like a white man could be racist, but probably if he has to choose between giving a job to a black man, giving a job to a black woman, he will most likely pick the black man because he's still a man. Like they still have, well, you're a man. I understand you need a boss up kind of stuff. So I'm gonna hook you up, right? Like, you see what I mean? Now, if a white man shows up, he'll probably pick the white man. But if it's like a white man, if it's like a black man versus a black woman, the white man most likely will hire the black man as opposed to the black woman because historically it's like, oh, the man is the head of the household, so he needs to make more money. That's another reason why they were really slow to let women in the workforce. So, oh, if you hire a woman, she's going to take a job away from man, right? So, you know, so as Western society, I don't know, Western Christian Judeo society always puts a priority on putting a man in a position where he can provide. Now, we can argue the pros to it and then there are cons to it. I can understand that. But, you know, so it creates a system where everybody has to be careful, be nice, be kind to the breadwinner of the house, right? But we're not in those days anymore. Like, we're in 2021. Like, if you want to make money as a woman, you can. You don't need a man to have a roof over your head. You don't need a man to pay your car note. You don't need a man. I mean, it's nice, but it should not come at the expense of your mental health. It should not come at the expense of your self-esteem. It should not come at the expense of your weight. It should not come at the expense of like things that actually bring you joy. It's horrible. And I'm like, a lot of people who are married, you know what I mean? The marriage, honestly, it has ran its course because you're no longer happy. Like you don't even, it's not even just a happy thing. Hey, I saw your comment this morning. I was like, oh, my boo, she's looking for me. You know what I mean? Like it has ran its course. Now, when I say a marriage has ran its course, I'm not saying like automatically you should go file for divorce, right? No, but the first phase of a marriage has run its course because, you know, everything around us evolves. The weather, the season, our bodies, everybody evolves. So maybe the first phase of the marriage, it definitely has run its course. And now we have to do something about it. And if the other party doesn't want to do something, you not be forced to stay with someone who is not willing to put the work in to create a better situation. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm watching this marriage Huntsville thing, and honestly, all these men, I mean, the new guy, I don't know much about him though, but he's been divorced before, so I'm sure he had his dusty season because this is his second marriage. So maybe he is trying to be a different person. Maybe he has acquired different perspectives that probably like have added to his wisdom. So I don't know him much yet, but when it comes to Marcel, Maurice, and Martel, they're trash. They're trash. And these men are like, they're nothing more than billboards for toxic Black masculinity. Toxic. Where it's like, oh, a real man only worries about money. Oh, I love you because I give a roof, I provide a roof for you and the children. But she can do that herself. Like, I get, like, we should be grateful when people do good things, right? But people have to understand, like, whether you were married or not, you will still have to provide a roof for yourself. So if you don't get extra brownie points because you provide a roof over your wife and the children's head, because even if they weren't in your life, you will still have to find a place to stay. So it's like, okay, you do what you're supposed to do. I don't get that. Oh, I'm out there making money for my family. Yes, you have to. People are not going to give you extra brownie points for doing what you're supposed to do as an adult. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, if you feel like it's too much for you to do, then she doesn't have to be home all the time. And she's telling you, Tisha's telling you she does not want to be home all the time. So if you feel like this is a lot for you financially, that you really can't keep up with the kind of man you want to be, with the kind of lifestyle you want to provide, she can pitch in. The lady got 2 MBA, she got 2 master's degree. She doesn't need your help. If you need her help, it's okay to ask. It's okay to ask. But I just find it so funny that you're sitting with your spouse and you're telling him how you feel, or with the conversations that you're having with other people, and the person says to you, "Oh, would you go to them for financial advice?" What does one have to do with the other? Oh, these people just got married 2 days ago. So does that mean because they got married 2 days ago that they're dumb? It's a valid question. And when you cannot answer the question, when you cannot address the issues, but instead you're deflecting and trying to find a flaw in other people, we got a problem. Because now it's about you. Like, we're having a conversation about you and I. Why are you trying to demean these other people? Even if they got married for just 15 minutes, they're observing something. They've seen something. There's something about your interaction with your wife that's making people question what is going on. So don't try to demean people because they're asking questions. Because if you walked accordingly, if you moved accordingly, if you behaved accordingly, people will be like, oh my gosh, that's such a wonderful couple. We look up to them. So why are people saying that? There are people who can have bad money practices. There are people who might not be good with their money, but they could give you good life advice. They just don't know how to handle money. There are people who can give you great money advice and cannot give you great matrimonial advice because, listen, just because you excel at one does not mean you have to excel at everything. But if the shoe applies, then wear it. Because here's the problem. You know what I'm saying? But do not feel as though, if you are a woman, do not feel as though it is your burden to make a marriage work all by yourself. No, it takes 2 people. How can a husband sit on TV or sit in front of friends at a dinner and tell people that him being married to you is causing him to have depression? Like, he has depression because he's married to you. I'm like, what? Is this a joke? Telling in front of everybody, me being attached to this woman, me being married to this woman is causing me to have a depression. I am not at my best when I am connected to this woman, or I'm not able to reach my fullest potential because I am connected to this woman. Sounds like what's his brother's name? Marceau said about Kaiwa. And it's like, it's incredibly messed up. It's incredibly messed up when a husband tries to make it seem like it's his wife's job to make him happy, or it's her job to give you joy, or it's her job. No, joy comes from within. Happiness comes from within. If you're not happy with yourself, you are not even going to be happy with yourself by yourself, because there's work that needs to be done in the inside of you. Hello, that ain't her fault. And it's freaking awful to make a person feel responsible for your depression. You're not happy because you choose not to be happy. Being happy is a decision. It's a mindset, y'all. It's a decision. And when she tries to take you to counseling, you act like, oh my gosh, why are we here? This ain't for us. But then you just saying, oh, I'm just over here. I'm just coasting. That's why we took you to a counselor. You cannot help a man who doesn't want to be real about his issues. And it's so crazy how people love, especially Kevin Samuels out here, and this manosphere and them little kitten heels people over there, love to talk about how Black women, especially in America, have father issues. But a lot of Black men in this country, too, do have father issues. And you go through life punishing everybody. He said, whoa, nobody wants to be depressed. No, that's not her responsibility. That is not her responsibility. It's nobody. You're a grown person. When you recognize that you got triggers in you, especially when you know how to chase money and you know how to buy yourself luxury vehicles, you know how to go do all the stuff that you do, you know how to work on business plan and work on construction plans. When you are a grown man with children and you know that your kids need you, you can recognize like, yo, something is not right. But because you adhere to a toxic book on how to be a Black man or how to be a man, you know, I got this, I can handle this. And the way you handle that is by blaming other people. That makes you a coward. Because your depression is from within. If you have a hormonal imbalance, if you have a poor outlook on life, that's your problem. You need to fix it. And once you take charge of your life, and say, you know what, just like alcoholism, right? If you drink, you can't say, oh, because of my wife, I drink. No, you're not the only one who has wife issues. You're not the only one who has a stressful life. A lot of people don't drink. That's how you choose to cope with your life. And you don't get to blame other people for your weak choices on how you decide to cope with things in life. You don't, because you can get help. You can get a whole lot of help. No, you've not been sabotaged by anybody. You've been sabotaged by yourself. You're sabotaged by yourself. And then even the way you wrote your comment, look at how you wrote your comment. I've been sabotaged by a beautiful woman, so I see it a little differently. You played yourself because you pursued someone on the merit of their looks, and you got played for being an idiot. And that's something that you got to take accountability for. Can nobody sabotage you but your own mindset? Because all you remember about her is her beauty. So she wasn't a good person. So you overlooked her flaws because you saw beauty. Because there's a part of you as a man who feels like you need to have a trophy next to you to be somebody and for other people to see value in you. Your own mindset is sabotaged you. She didn't sabotage you. Can nobody come into your life and play with you unless you have things that you have yet to work on? Because a lot of Black people don't like to address their shit. Black people walk around here, even when it comes to politics, with this Joe Biden stuff, always trying to bury their hand in the sand and think that, oh, things are just going to work out by themselves. No, things don't work out by themselves. Things work out when we get to working. That's the thing. You know a lot of good women that you could have been with. But because you care about people got to say, you care about how you're going to be perceived by other men, you pursued beauty instead of pursuing value. And that's what you played yourself with. You sabotage yourself. Go sit down somewhere with that. I hate grown-ass men who always blame women for their issues. If it's not your mama, it's your ex-girlfriend. If it's not your ex-girlfriend, it's your wife. If it's not your wife, it's your daughter. Can you stop? Can you stop? God gave you a sack of balls for semen, not for tears of fuckery. What the heck is this shit? Oh my God, oh, stop it. Man up. You got some issues about yourself. You have issues about your manhood. Nobody ever showed you what a real man looked like, not being bulky, not being a bully, not being a man who flashes money all. No. Go get help. You have so many therapists today. You have so many counselors. You have so many people who can help you because how you feel, it started from your childhood. This woman had nothing to do with it. She's just a consequence of a lot of shit that you haven't dealt with. You pick poorly because you're still out here with all your glasses being dizzy and stuff, like being fuzzy and stuff. Because why? The lenses of your life, they've been blurred. They've been blurred. So you got to work on yourself. But nobody can force you to do well. Oh, somebody played me. No, take accountability. If you are in a relationship that sucks the life out of you because you don't believe enough in yourself to demand something of yourself, so they go suck the life out, just like Tisha. Oh, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. It does bother you. Don't ever deny how you feel to make another person comfortable, because he don't care about how you feel. Couldn't even step up for 5 minutes and profess his love for you. How hard is it for a man to say, you know what, Tisha, I love you. We have 15 good years together. I pray that we have more years together. Thank you for the kids. Thank you for all that you've done. I'm just happy that we're together now, and I hope that we continue to have more years together. God bless you, sis. Like, is it that hard to say to somebody? Is it that hard to do? No, I'm going to punish you because I don't feel good about myself, because I don't have all your attention, because you're not around the house like you used to, being like Sally the maid. I will punish you every chance I get by making sure that I'm always an inconvenience for you, by making sure that every time you tell me something that you're not happy with, I go and do the complete opposite. How is that not domestic violence? Like, how is that not emotional abuse? Like, this lady is emotionally abused. There are so many forms. You got to stop thinking that abuse is only when a man puts his hands on you. But when you're in a relationship and somebody intentionally withholds the love that they should give you because you guys are together under a covenant, this man agreed to be your husband. You didn't force him. Nobody forced him. And the person like intentionally withholds love that you're owed, or the person intentionally withholds like intimacy that they owe you, or the person intentionally withholds the friendship that they owe you. That's so freaking awful. Why are we here? And then you also got to ask yourself, why am I in this? Because a lot of marriages have run their course. You only have one life to live. Don't you ever allow somebody to make you feel like you're invisible. I'm like, he treats Tisha like she's some damn wallpaper. In your own marriage, in your own household, somebody sees right through you. Why are you there? Why are you there? When you had to fight so hard, especially with Tisha, like, you know, when I look at Tisha, I think of myself a little bit, you know, like we dark skin out here. You know what I mean? We have like more like black, like we don't look like Melody with like the small nose and everything like that, right? I'm like, do you have any idea like how a lot of us black girls who grew up like in the 90s and the 2000s, like what it took for us to be proud to be black, to love our complexion, to love our features, to feel confident about ourselves? Like, do you have any idea the work that you have to put in to love yourself, to be proud of yourself, to show up as you are? Do you have any idea what it takes for a person? Do you have any idea what it takes for a dark-skinned woman? And because you got some height on you, you think you're going to diminish me? Oh, I wish somebody would. I wish somebody would. Please take your love go. Take your marriage go. Rubbish. What, a ring? My sister, if you have degrees and even working on the show, you can go to the place and buy yourself some rings. Like you're not destitute. You don't need a man to buy you a ring. You can buy yourself a whole bunch of rings. You can buy yourself a whole bunch of jewelry. Okay? You can commit to your own self. If somebody won't commit to you, commit to yourself. If someone will not love you, love yourself. Learn to love yourself. Before we even talk about, what is happiness? What is joy? No, first and foremost, what does self-love look like? What does self-love look like? What does loving myself look like? Because obviously Marceau has not received a manual on what your self-love looks like. So he thinks he can talk to you like a kid. Can you imagine? A woman she's like, 30 something, almost like what, 36, 37, has 2 master's degree, has 3 children, and some dude, we don't even know if he went to school. I don't even see a single degree from Marceau. And you go talk to me like I'm a kid? Is that a joke? Just like Martell out here with all the tight ass shirt and his fake ass manhood. Come to find out, Melody is the one who has the developer degree. Melody is the one who has the the license to do the building. He has nothing but muscles. A lot of these men, they're so light. They're so light. Like the Bible says, ounce for ounce, they shall be measured. They're so light. Even my iPhone weighs more than them in terms of deeds, in terms of intelligence, in terms of merit. They're so light. And they want to be out here stressing people out. Just a joke? You ladies, like, do not marry down. I am telling you. If you are a woman with a bachelor's degree, do not marry somebody with a GED. Because he will resent you. Because a lot of these men is weak-minded. And instead of being like, yo, we black out here. What's mine is yours. What's yours is mine. If you reach for the stars, I'll be right behind you. And if you fall, I'll take you to the moon. No, they gonna hate you. And a lot of them, they resent black women. They're envious of black women. What system that put you in a better situation? Go sit down somewhere with your shameful outlook. What system that put her in a better situation? A system that had her in the house so she could be abused by these people? System that had her be a maid, wash them people's clothes? A system that had her be a wet nurse? How many black men have had to give their nipples away to breastfeed white children? You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. What system that put what black men in a better place? Where? Being a maid is a better place? Where? Y'all act like when black women come through, white people just roll a red carpet for black women. Where? I be where? Show me where? The medical industry that uses black women to do all kinds of experimental drug testing on them. Where? Black women who die in the hospital like cattle. Prenatal care, boom, she dies. Postnatal care, boom, she dies. Pregnancy, boom, she dies. Where is the system that put black women in a better place? Where? Always looking for an excuse instead of looking to stand up and be a man and be like, oh, today I'm going to change my ways. Go sit down somewhere. What system? What? Where is it? Oh, please. It's an experience. I don't know. Maybe not. Where? That black woman in the back. Where are black women in a better position? Where they at? Where? Some of the richest people, black people, are black men. Where? This basketball player, James Harden, $350 million contract. The LeBron James, $1 billion. The majority of the wealthiest black people globally are black men. So where? What system? Where? How many black men in America are billionaires? How many black women in America are billionaires? Like what, Oprah and like 2 other people? That's it? Where are black women put in a better position? Please, I want to know so I can go live there. Where? Come on now, stop gaslighting people with effery. Like, stop it. Like, it's old. Like, it's getting old. Like, stop gaslighting people with effery. Where? Have a child. Black women can get assistance at home. Black men will be homeless. Okay. Why should the government, you're a grown man. Why should the government look out for you? Why? No, seriously. You're a grown man. Why should the government look out for you? Here's how I booked my flight today. Exactly, man. Because we want to go move there. You're a grown man. Why should the government look out for you? So because a woman gets assistance, because a black woman has a child and she gets government assistance, you want the same thing for you. So are you a woman? Are you woman identified? Do you have issues? Do you have gender issues? Are you confused? What's the issue? Or you're jealous of her. So you wish for the white man to give you also a free place to stay as a man? As a man. You want another man to take care of you? Then just tell the white man you want him to be a daddy. What's the problem? How's that an advantage? So because someone has housing. So let us get this straight. So because somebody has housing, because a woman has housing, she has an advantage. So, and mind you, right, we're not even talking about, oh, she has housing in Beverly Hills. That's like a better district, a better school district, better job opportunities, right? We're talking about housing in low income neighborhood. that come with violence, police brutality, food desert, horrible school system, shortages of teachers, that's an advantage. Y'all swear like they put these black women in these like upper echelon neighborhood with bougie. You would swear that these black women who get assistance from the government are living in a gated community on the golf course with a butler and a maid. Please stop. Please stop. Stop the delusion. Just because you are given housing does not mean that all of a sudden your life is better. That's an advantage for you. Have you been to New York? Have you looked at these Marcy projects? Child, I would actually rather be homeless. At least I'd get some sunlight. So because the government gives a woman a place with 4 walls, a door, a toilet, and a sink, somehow, oh my gosh, she has such an advantage over you. Oh my goodness, you don't say. How low? The bar is so low. The bar is so low. And I was talking about it to Jimmy because, there's a lot of videos I want to do, but I'm not going to do them because my mouth, you know what I mean? I don't want to because people can't take the truth out here. And these black men are very weak-minded. They're very fragile. And like, when they don't like what you're saying, you're a black woman, especially when you look like me, they try to attack your channel, attack your Instagram because they cannot take the truth. They love to berate black women. They love to shame black women. They love to embarrass, diminish black women. But as soon as you call them on their crap, oh, now they want to start attacking you, right? But I'm built for this stuff. I don't really care, though. But because I have other things I need to say, so I ain't going to do it. Because I'm being a little fake in this season. You know what I mean? But the thing that truly, truly kills me, and I was telling my husband that, is the fact that I like Daddy, black people don't have pride. Black people do not have pride because the way my pride is set up, I'll be damned. And I don't mean no offense by that, right? But the reality about having different groups of people, black, Asians, white, Indian, whatever, it's a competition. It's a competition out here, man. It's a competition. It is a competition for everything, for school, for food, for money, for it's a competition. We got to be honest with ourselves, right? It is a competition. Survival of the fittest, right? One of the main reasons why I lost the weight last time when I went to Orange Theory, because I was like, I'd be damned if a white woman runs faster than me. I didn't like it because that's the way I was raised. I don't allow white people to beat me. I was raised like that because we black out here, y'all. That's black pride. As a math major, nah, it was a rap. Like I would do group projects with them, then I would go home and do my own project because I don't trust them people. That's pride right there. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm black. There's in my head, the way I talk to myself, there's nothing I cannot do. Why are these people better? Why are they making more money than me? Like, it bothers me. You know what I'm saying? Why are they living like this? It bothers me. Because I'm black. I'm blessed. I'm favored. God is in me. Nah, I cannot lose. They said this in it. Like, there's a problem. Right? But a lot of black people, they don't have pride. Go on Twitter. They're always begging white people for money. Oh, the white man, they gave me money. And there's a bunch of black men too. Ooh, the people crying on you on Twitter about not getting money from venture capital, from investors. It's always white people. It's always black boys, black men crying all the time. Oh, the white man didn't open the door for me. The white man didn't give me money. The white man didn't fund my idea. The white man didn't write me a check. Yo, make your own. I'm like, you don't see all these rappers with money out here? You don't see Little Baby? He went and bought a fake watch for $400,000. Y'all want to talk, and like, who's this brother? All the answers. Brother, you want to come out here and talk about, black women have an advantage because they're given housing. You black men, especially you African-American men, you're giving an advantage because you sing about killing your own people. Go sit down somewhere. Go sit down somewhere. You walk around here with bands of money. Like stacks of money. I mean, like some people, you're like, whoa, what? Like, it is so, go on Instagram, you guys. Go on Instagram and see how much these black guys, especially these African-American men, see how much money they be flexing on the gram. And they get that money simply for singing about selling drugs, killing people, calling black women all kinds of bitches and hoes. And you want to talk about a black woman, especially an African-American woman, she has an advantage because she gets housing? And a low-income neighborhood where the rent is not more than $750 or $1,200 a month? We're at $1,200 $200, that's money to you? But here you have a whole horde of black men in this country who get to make millions of dollars. They can make $100,000, $200,000 a night. Baby, Future, all of them. They can make like $250,000 a night singing about killing other black men. And you want to talk about an event? How fair is it that you promote death in the community? How fair is it that you promote drug dealing, fentanyl, all kinds of horrible things? It is black men who promoted this whole stripper identity and made these young girls think that being a stripper is goals. This whole mindset of fast money, fast money, fast money, always out here. Black man. Megan Thee Stallion would not exist, my brother, if it was not for black men. Because the only kind of black woman you're comfortable being next to is the one that looks like a whore. Talk about it. Talk about it. Your granddaddy, did he stand next to a whore? I bet not. I bet you not. When we go into your household, anybody that's black out here, if we go look at our grandparents, your grandfather had next to him a woman of value, a woman of virtue. We go to the 80s, woman of value, woman of virtue. Why is it that today most black girls are confused and think that having a whore-like identity is who she needs to be to win? These black little sisters out here with their booties all out, naked all the time because of your toxic-ass mindset. Because you're so weak. So you rather have a bitch next to you, rather have a whore next to you, than to have a real woman stand next to you. Because you can't take it. Because you're not trying to grow. You ain't trying to change. You ain't trying to build. Weak ass dudes out here. Weak as fuck. Because what kind of man will let his woman with her entire ass on the red carpet so he can affirm his manhood? Weak as fuck. That's what you are. You're weak as fuck. Because you ain't got no pride. Because all you want are the crumbs from the white man's table. Get the fuck out of here. And y'all know my husband's African American too, right? So sometimes he also does get checked. Have some pride about yourself. Have some pride about yourself. You don't see these white men do this to the woman? Who put Kim Kardashian on the pedestal? Black man. I was watching the Queen Shioma yesterday. That's the little sis. I do watch her. I was watching Queen Shioma yesterday, and she was talking about Kim Kardashian's going to be removing her booty, and she was talking about how these white girls all of a sudden ended up being in black people's faces, right? And confusing black women. And I was like, yes, because black men brought them over here. When you have some of the wealthiest black men pursue these types of women, it confuses black women. Because they also want to have hypergamy. They want to be able to marry rich black men. They want to be able to marry successful black men. They want to be able to marry handsome black men. So when you see that these handsome black men, the wealthy black men are going for this kind of look, it causes confusion. Black men cause black women to have so much insecurity that they want to act dumb, like this is out here. We out here playing Blue's Clues. Oh, how did this happen? Oh, why are you getting a BBL? Ooh, why don't you wear your real hair? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut the hell up. When you keep finding foreigners and bringing foreigners amongst the mix and you put them on a pedestal of beauty, yes, you're going to cause some confusion. Yes, you're going to cause people to have insecurity. Don't act stupid with me. I hate stuff like this. Oh my gosh. They have no pride about themselves. Because you think a man that has pride can get in a company ran by white folks and think about nigga, I'm gonna kill you. And all of them is Jewish people. Have you ever heard a Jewish person talk about, oh, on the day of Shabbat, I'm gonna kill my dude Jacob and Isaac? Huh? Because you ain't got no pride. Because pride will tell you, like, no, this ain't it. Because I got to represent my people. Like, what kind of man gonna always chase another man for him to make a way for him? You like, does your mind work right? Does your mind work properly? Always begging white folks. Always waiting for white people to start something and then you're going to go apply to be a manager. You can't think of your own stuff. Look at this country we live in, y'all. Black people are the people who are known for fried chicken. Don't own not one single fried chicken place. Everything belongs to white men. KFC, white people. Popeyes, white people. Chick-fil-A, white people. It's not by design. It's by your weakness. It's not by design. I'm telling you, integration on this on the people out here in the streets. Because there are plenty of black men. Oh, yes, y'all. There are plenty of, even here, what does Africa here, but since we're here, let's talk about here in America. There are plenty of African-American men in black history when racism was like at its peak, when evil was at its peak, there was no banks. You know what I mean? Hey, Maya, there were no banks. There was no venture capital. There was one time I watched a documentary, you guys. I started crying. Because even me, Marlene, I was like, Marlene, you're also a punk. And I cried and I repented. No, it's true. Because there was this black man, he's African-American. He was from the South. He started a newspaper. You guys, with 25 cents a quarter. He started my baby. He started a newspaper with 25 cents, you guys. 25 cents. Worked so hard. He turned that newspaper into a multi-million-dollar business. And I looked at myself like, how many times was I like, oh, I don't have enough. Oh, God, always complaining. But then you have ancestors who built great things with pennies because they had work ethics. They had pride. They didn't allow themselves to be intimidated. Yes, and life was way harder for them than we have running water. What's our problem? We have running water. We have iPhones. We have the internet. We have electricity. We have cable. We have Netflix. We have so much. You want to go somewhere, even when you want to go to school, there's a whole school bus that comes to get you at the stop sign right by your house. If you ever read the story of Maya Angelou was raised by her aunt, by her grandmother, her dad's mother. She was raised by her paternal grandmother. That's like, what, 1800s out there? So the grandma, she was married to a toxic black man, and he used to beat on her because he thought, oh, she don't have nothing, so I could just treat her he could treat her any way he wanted to and take out his aggression from this world on this innocent black woman. Instead of saying, oh, wife, we're in this together. No, you want to turn her into your doormat because the white man out here emasculating you. So guess what? Her grandmother ran. Oh, she sure did run for her life. She said, you ain't finna kill me. She filed for divorce and she ran. So then the grandma, like Maya Angelou, her grandma settled in a place called Stamps, Arkansas. Okay? Stamps, Arkansas. Y'all, she had nothing. You guys, like, seriously, like, it's really sad. Like, you start reading some of these stories, you stop complaining. Like, you legit stop complaining. So what she did was, she would sell, like, what we African people call puff puff. Here in New Orleans, they call them beignet. White people say donuts, okay? So, whatever, right? But these fried cakes, you know what I'm saying? So, these puff puffs. She would sell these beignets, right? So, she would go where the men would work, where the black men were working. She would start the fire. She would do the beignet stuff, right? And she would sell it. And then she would turn off the fire, put the oil somewhere, and she would take the rest of her little cakes. She would run 3 miles. Jesus, she would run 3 miles in a different direction because there was another workspace where more black men were working. So she would run so that at least her cakes would be somewhat hot. It's like 3 or 5 miles. She would do this every day. So today she would start, like, if it's Monday, she would start at like location A. So that way they would have hot cakes, and then she would run to the other people. Then on Tuesday, she would go over there. She would start at location B. Then she would run to location A. Yo, this is crazy. Do you know what running 3 miles or 6 miles gonna do to your body? I'm like, damn, this woman is strong. She could have ran track. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. But it's like, she did that stuff, right? Do you know that, like, Maya Angelou's grandma selling pancakes, like selling these fried puff puffs, was able to buy like an estate of land? Like, she bought so much land. We're talking 1800. Black, dark-skinned black woman with all the Negro features, without a husband and some children. And mind you, one of Maya's uncle he was paraplegic. Like half of his body was paraplegic. Uncle Willie, I think. So she had to take care of him doing all of that. So she buys so much land, and then she ends up building like a convenience store. So she sells like food, vegetables, clothes, spices, whatever. It's kind of like a Walmart of its day, right? So I think it's Mimi's, I don't know what it's called, but no, Willie's, because it was named after her son. So she has a convenience store, and because her land is so big, she ends up renting her land to white folks. Can you imagine? I said, Jesus. I remember reading that when I was like 16 or 15, but then I read the story again because I love Maya Angelou because she's such a radical. Maya Angelou is crazy. She is crazy. I'm like, damn, auntie. But can you imagine? Me, Marlene, I'm running for 1 or 2 days. I'm like, this is it. I can't do this no more. This is too much work, girl. I can't. But you see, that's what pride is. Pride at all. When you have pride, I'm not talking about the pride. Oh, I'm not gonna forgive her unless she says sorry to me. I ain't gonna say sorry to her. No, I'm not. That's a different kind of pride we're talking about. The pride I'm talking about is knowing who you are and taking pride in your work, like having work ethics and like not letting anything get to you, like being consistent, being grateful, knowing that no, I'm not less than. I mean, yes, it would have been easier. It would have been a lot nicer if I had more money, if I had more support, but this is what I have. And I'm going to make the best of my situation. This is crazy. And then her other grandma, like her mom's mother, she lives somewhere up north, like a lot more. It was somewhere like a bit more, I don't know if it was Chicago. It was somewhere really nice though. But her other grandma too, she was a G because she ran a whole city as a Black woman. And she had judges, white judges in her pocket. She even had a white butler. Like Maya is raised really by some really powerful Black matriarchs. Like her grandma, because I think like her mom's, because her mom is bougie. Like her mom is very bougie. Her mom comes from a very affluent Black family that is ran by just a Black woman. Because the lady has like bars, and I think it's like during the time of the Prohibition. So she does like some dirty business. She has a bar. She's like, the grandma is into everything. So she has like, Maya has 3 uncles. They're like some bad guys. Also, people are really afraid of them. People are afraid of the grandma. I'm like, her grandmother lived in like a mansion. The other grandma lives in a mansion, and that grandma had like a white butler, and he was like so afraid of her. Like, it is crazy. I'm like, look, what am I reading here? What is this, right? I forgot what city it was. Because when Maya gets sexually assaulted by her mom's boyfriend, the uncles took care of it. And then the judge didn't have an issue with it because Maya's grandma is so rich. Like, she's so rich and she's so powerful. So okay, he didn't make it to court because on his way to court, somehow he disappeared. You know what I mean? Because the uncles took care of that. The mother is rich. The grandma is rich. Like it's insane. Like, you have to read I Know Why the Cageburg Can Sing. Like, it is insane. It is insane how this lady grew up. But we're talking like 1800, like early 1900s. And you have these like really strong-headed like Black matriarchs, you know what I'm saying? Who have their own domain, like who have power, who have respect, because the grandma in Stamps also, like, white people used to come shop at her place. They would take loans from her. She would rent property out to them because they had nowhere to stay. Like, she was a landlord to white folks in a very racist time. And even like when the KKK people would try to do their foolishness, you had white people who had so much respect for her that would come and tell her, oh, they're coming out tonight. Make sure you hide Willis, like her son, because child, y'all need to read. You need to read the book. I Know Why the Cageburg Can Sing. But my thing is, like, when we talk about let's fast forward to 2021. That's why I say a lot of Black people, they don't have pride. You know what I mean? They don't have pride, because when you have pride about yourself, like, I'm not against asking someone, like, hey, if someone can help you, ask them. But when you recognize that, oh, they got an issue with my complexion, so they're not going to help me just so I can starve. They're not going to help me just so I don't make it. That's what we're going to have to show you otherwise. You got to have pride about yourself. You see what I mean? Yeah, that's when I learned about people being molested. I didn't even know that was possible. I was, what the heck is this? You know what I mean? Because I'm pro-Black. I'm super Black. I don't talk about everything all the time because it's too much, right? And I'm not trying to be radicalized like my auntie Nina Simone. But that's just how I grew up. You know what I mean? Like, I just grew up with having a huge sense of pride. Like, you're Black. Don't you ever let no white person intimidate you. What the heck? They're regular people just like you. But in America, like, all you see is Black people always begging white people to love them, to accept them, to give them money. They don't want to. Leave them alone. Take the joy away from them. Like, yo, I made it without you, white person. It's so bad. That's why I ran, because when I would go to Orange Theater, like, these white girls, they can run. They can run. Like, they can go to speed 9, speed 10. I said, hold up, wait a minute. She's not gonna outrun me because I'm black. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but my genetics is better. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, okay. That's why I started running outside so I could like build up my stamina. Then when they open back the gym up, baby, we're all running at speed 9 because there ain't no white woman finna run faster than me. That's just how my mind is. Like, ain't no white person finna beat me. This is not happening. Like, what is this? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But you go on Twitter, all you see is a bunch of black men. I'm talking, they could have gone to Harvard. They could have gone to Wharton. They could have gone to no school. They could have gone to the School of Life. And they're out there crying. Oh, white man. Oh, white man. Oh, white man. You see what I mean? You look at this. Where's all the answers? Let's talk about some real stuff. This video's going to end up on Patreon. But let's talk about some real stuff too, though, right? Like, you have people talk about, like, oh, black women are given an advantage. Black men always had a greater advantage than black women because physically, the cause that brought people here was physical labor. Some serious physical labor. Why is my thing freezing? Some serious physical labor. So already from the jump of black people being kidnapped and brought here, black men had the advantage because you have the physicality. Period. Then when people start getting smarter, black men had also an advantage in becoming barbers. Like if people are so full of crap. People are so full of crap. When you notice like industries, like especially black industries in America, in a black American context, black man, these becoming African American man always had an advantage over black women. If the labor was physical, they could do it more. They could do it better because they were stronger, right? Even the survival on the water, they could do it better than most women. Duh. Number 2, especially like after the even going into, let's talk about the war. Let's talk about the Civil War. Why were so many black men were able to like improve their financial situation? Why? Because they were able to enlist in the army as soldier. They got to experience freedom, like real freedom. Like, oh, they got to experience the Second Amendment before black women did. What are you talking about? Being able to join the army for Lincoln, even though it wasn't like the best of situation, it still gave you a taste of real manhood compared to black women. They could join in the army. They could carry weapons. They could do all of that. Then after the war, it's when these people start doing like barbershops and things like that. Black men were the first one to have their own businesses. By like, especially becoming like the black barbershop. That thing is so old. It is such an old tradition. It is such an old tradition. And that also made more because you could do it for the black man. You could do it for the white man. They would be barbers for a whole lot of people. When they did their bank, like they built their bank after the war, when they built their bank after the war, the majority of the people that gave money to the black banks were black men who were barbers. What are we talking about here? What advantage are we talking about? These white women are out there washing clothes for 5 cents a week. Like, what are we saying here? What are we saying? What are we saying? It's probably not until like the 80s, like the 90s, that you start seeing like maybe black women are making more in terms of income compared to black men. But from 1600, just like we said to the white man, you had a 400-year advantage. You also had a 400-year advantage. Even in your oppression, you had an advantage. Like, don't do this. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not do that. And even in school today, even in academia, when it comes to like engineering, when it comes to STEM majors, when it comes to like even medicine, men are usually preferred compared to women. They're usually admitted more into these programs than women are. And when it comes to getting jobs, they usually are preferred because people say, oh, well, men can't get pregnant, so they're not going to need like maternity leave. They're not going to need all this extra stuff because men don't get pregnant. So they're a better investment for a company than a woman is, right? If you're going to pick a doctor for the ER, you most likely will prefer to have a man. Right? Because he's not going to get pregnant. The lady, she might get pregnant and then she has to take time off and take the kids. So it's like men have the simple fact that men cannot get pregnant is such a huge advantage when it comes to having income, making income, and creating income. Don't do that. My Patreon is I care about black issues. It's called I care about black issues, right? So that's that's what that is. So let's not do that. But it's like a lot of black men in this country, even globally too, like even in Africa too, right? They don't have pride. They don't have pride. Because if you have pride about yourself, you're like, oh, I can't allow these people to beat me. Because you recognize that life is nothing more than competition. As a black man, I got to provide for my people. As a black man, I got to fight for my community. No, these be black men out here singing about lean and singing about syrup, knowing damn well this stuff kills. Look at somebody like 50 Cent. Everything he produces, drug dealer, drug dealer. I'm like, yo, fam, like, do you not have any other story about black men that you can share to the world? Every time, drug dealer, like, you don't have a story of a black man who became a doctor. You don't have a story about a black man who did the right thing and became CEO of a big company. Like, so it's like for you, like, you can't conceive the possibility that there are black men out here who make money, who made great wealth, doing the right thing and being honest people. No. Let's always show black men as a high school dropout who does the drugs and who sleeps with a bunch of black women and cusses them out. Because you don't have pride. I'm not in for a rude awakening. I'm 36 years old. And like in February, I'll be 37. I've already been awakened. I've already been awakened. Because I'm not a victim. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're hiding something from, and they should. But you got to also know that you're smart enough to discover whatever it is that they're hiding. The Americans hid a lot from Iran. They hid a lot from Pakistan, right? But these people were even from North Korea. The Europeans, they always hide a lot because they want to have an advantage. Is it okay? Not really, but it makes sense, right? But my thing is, when it comes to Pakistan, or Afghanistan, I think it's Pakistan, when it comes to Pakistan, when it comes to Iran, when it comes to North Korea, these people have been able to enrich uranium. North Korea is under embargo, and somehow they have nuclear weapons. So it don't matter what the white man wants to hide. You're smart enough to figure it out. Like the Chinese are head to toe with these Americans. In 50 years, look at what China has done. They own America. And like they have small eyes. Imagine if their eyes was bigger. I don't know. Because they got pride. The Chinese have pride. Like even when you see them at the Olympic Games, like it's like, yo, we gotta win. they're so serious about it. Because they have pride. Because for them it's personal. It's personal. It's personal. It's only black people globally who don't have a personal, like for them it's not personal. Somebody sells your people for 400 years and you want to be their friend. Like make it make sense. Somebody sells your people for 400 years and all you want is for them to give you a little salary. Instead of saying, I need to take back what the devil has stolen from me. Like, what the heck is this? The Chinese, they played the game with these people. They let them come in, oh, we'll work for 5 cents an hour. Because they wanted to acquire the knowledge, like, yo, we need to know how they're doing what they're doing. So for a moment, they took it to the chin. They took very low wages because they wanted to know the voodoo of the white man. But they're like, okay. They didn't complain. But the whole time they had a plan. Which is, it's their pride. Like Chinese people have a lot of pride. They do. They'll play dumb, but they have a plan. Like they always have a plan. We don't have a plan because we don't have pride. But then again, when you think about this country too, like the system, like public school system, whatever, there's nothing else like they teach you also to have pride also. You know what I mean? But then there's no pride. You see the way even black children conduct themselves. They don't have a sense of pride. What kind of person can walk out here with your whole underwear showing? You don't have pride. They say, oh, we're kings and queens. You think kings and queens walk outside with half their booty showing up out here like this? There's no pride. There's no pride. And when you try to explain people the concept of take pride in who you are, take pride in your appearance, take pride in your work, take pride in your grade, take pride in your industry. Oh, you're trying to shame me. Oh, whatever. Because people don't understand what pride is. Have some pride about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watch a lot of little sisters here on YouTube crying about, oh, these black men, they like exotics. These black men, this, that, that. And I'm like, listen, when it comes to matters of dating, right? When it comes to you dating out here, it's a competition, sis. Don't cry about it. Apply some pressure. What do you have that if you were to flex, you could look better than whatever this thing is over here? You know what I'm saying? Don't let no woman stress you. You're a woman too. Don't let no woman stress you. If she's light-skinned, whatever, it don't matter. Don't let anybody stress you. Because you have the ability to become whatever woman you want. Whatever kind of stuff you want as a woman, you have the ability to morph into whatever you desire to become. You just got to apply pressure though. But don't let anybody stress you. Don't let nobody stress you. Oh my gosh, look at all the attention they're giving her. Okay, so what you got to do? Take pride in yourself. What must you do? Don't sit here and like be a player hater from the sideline. Because that's what this whole thing, this whole dating stuff, this whole day, it's about attraction. Make yourself attractive. What is sitting here on YouTube making videos complaining about the light skin? You're giving these people clout. Don't even talk about them. Focus on your glow up. I'm not making videos crying about no light skinned woman and her light skin privilege. I could care less. Because in my eyes, she has no privilege. So there's nothing to talk about. Focus on yourself. Have pride about yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, and that being said, I lost all this weight. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is this? Like, what is going on here? Take pride. But a lot of us, like, we don't have pride. We want convenience. And unfortunately, and that's why a lot of Black women are in a really, really bad position, right? Like, they can't really practice hypergamy. They really do certain things because the Black man today is very lazy. They don't have pride. They do not have pride. They don't value family. And that's the thing too. Like, you cannot be a public success and a failure in your home. And that's the thing with Marcel. You cannot be so worried about people seeing you as a businessman, as having multiple businesses, as being a great businessman. But when I look at your wife, she's dying in misery. You know what I'm saying? Your biggest, the biggest testament to your reputation as a man is your household. When people look at your wife, does she look happy or does she look sad? Does she look loved or does she look neglected? And when you don't have balance in your home life, you will never have real success in your career. You will not. You cannot be a public success and a household failure. That's embarrassing. That's like putting the cart before the horse. It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You need to be a success in your household first. And then when you go out there, you'll be an amazing public success. And that's why T.I. found himself in the situation he found himself in, being accused of all this sexual whatever stuff is. That's what it is. Because when you're not a success in your household, you will always be a failure in the public. But a lot of men are under the impression, oh, I can neglect my wife and I can do these things to my wife and then I can go out there and bamboozle people. No, you're going to be bamboozled by reality and you will be exposed. You see, had you never shared your matrimony, if the way you speak that fancy English, if you had a fancy mindset when it also came to your marriage, you wouldn't be in this situation. But when, like I said last night, when you turn your marriage into an altar, when you turn your matrimonial bed into an altar of whoredom, it's an altar of whoredom because that's what it is. Because be honest, right? Sex is very spiritual. So when you turn your house, you turn your matrimonial bed into an altar of whoredom to whatever demon you people are worshiping, right? But do not be surprised if one day it comes out publicly and it ruins your image. The same thing goes for Will and Jada, right? You want to be a public success, but your household is a hot-ass mess. Your marriage is a hot-ass mess. That's what the Bible says. Do not be deceived, right? God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, he shall reap. And if you sow disorder, confusion, lack of empathy, infidelity, all this effery into your marriage, you will reap it publicly. You will reap it publicly. I think a lot, and that's why a lot of Black men have a hard time with leadership success, have a hard time with passing down generational wealth, because this disorder, this dysfunction, the lack of alignment between the man that you are at home and the man that you are in your career, it all causes you to lose everything. And that's why so many Black men, they reach the top, they lose everything. And it's always lack of self-control. It's always poor mindset. It's always lack of self-governance. You see, if you were faithful to one woman, you loved one woman, you focused on one woman, you wouldn't be in this predicament. R. Kelly, same thing. Bill Cosby, same thing. Same thing. You can never think. And it's even in the book of, I think it's in Songs of Songs, right? Where King Solomon says, young man, do not despise the wife of your youth. It's in the Word of God. It talks about that. Do not despise the wife of your youth. You think you like a lot of these, Oh, Jesus. Let me get my words right. You truly think that in this life, you will be successful in your endeavors when the woman that you've married is at home crying? But let's be serious. God is just. God is very just. You think when a woman is at home crying about how her husband is treating her, and she's screaming out to God, even when she's just moaning or she's just sighing like, hmm, hmm. The Apostle Paul says it. The Apostle Paul says, the Bible even says that even like a sigh, it says like even a deep sigh is a prayer. And guess what? A prayer can also be a curse. Not that it's intentional, but do you think that if a woman's heart is heavy about the things her husband is doing to her, whoa, you think you're going to be successful? Are you serious right now? And I wish a lot of men, I wish a lot of black men, especially since we black, let's talk about it, would understand where favor comes from. I wish a lot of black men would understand the power of a loving wife. I wish a lot of black men would understand the power of a loving wife praying for her husband. You can be smart, you're not going to make it. You can know people, the door's still not going to be open. You can get this close to a contract and it ain't going to get signed. You know why? Because the way you treat your wife. And the Lord says, until you do right by my daughter, prosperity you will not know. These great accolades that you're seeking, you will never experience. You will never. Everything you do, it won't come to full fruition until you do right by my daughter. And that's what the scripture says. Women, submit unto your husbands. But husbands, love your wives as Christ has loved the church. And until you fulfill the order, until you fulfill God's word over your wife, you will not succeed. And that's why everything they build, it just always comes tumbling down. Everything they build, it's like the rug always gets pulled under their feet. Because God is a protector of women. God is a protector of wife. And people need to understand this very clearly. That's why you should never allow any man to coerce you, bamboozle you, scam you into a threesome. Because marriage is God's business. Marriage is a holy business. Marriage is a ministry. And God is not to be mocked. Using your bodies in ways and doing things before God for a sacred union that is ordained by God. Y'all, people need to fear God. Fear God. Fear God. And that's why I said, as a woman, you should never love a man more than you love God. Because the day your husband wants you to go against the will of God, then my sister, like Jesus said, if your arm will be a reason for you not to make it to heaven, cut that mug off. If your eyes will be a reason for you to not make it into heaven, poke it out. Don't let no man cause you to miss your purpose. Let no man cause you to miss your destiny. Let no man cause you to offend your God, because he's your only and true protector. Because this ain't okay. When a husband comes to you, if your husband comes to you, a husband comes to you and starts bringing you ideas and start bringing ideas of, oh, let's have a threesome. Rebuke him in the name of Jesus. Rebuke him. I don't know what kind of demon or what kind of spirit you're trying to introduce in our household, but I rebuke that spirit that's talking through you in the name of Jesus. And then on top of that, get on your knees and start praying, because your husband is now being spiritually oppressed. Like he has either met people or he has encountered people. He has encountered some kind of teaching that is causing him to be oppressed. For him to, sometimes people talk to you. It's not really them. It's the spirit that live in them that's talking to you. And you got to pray for these men. And that's the thing. That's what I was telling every single wife. Pray for your husband. Take a day every week where you pray for these men, because they're weak-minded. Weak-minded. Easily they fall into temptation. Man is weak, y'all. Don't let these muscles fool you. Don't let their height fool you. Don't let their whatever print fool you. A lot of men are weak. And that's why they struggle with faith. That's why they struggle with commitment. That's why they struggle with making decisions. That's why they struggle with being vulnerable. That's why they struggle with being in love and showing you how much they love you, because they're weak. And when you find yourself by a weak person, the Bible says, pray for those who are weak amongst y'all. Pray for him. Yeah. Pray for them. Because he's introduced, your husband has been introduced, the husband has been introduced to unclean teachings, unclean spirit, and unclean people. So now he wants you to turn your home, turn your matrimonial bed into an altar of God knows what. But guess what, though? The moment you allow that to happen, you might as well kiss your marriage goodbye. Because most people who do threesomes, when the wife is not there, there's a twosome going behind her back while she's at work. And when you start to hear certain things come out of people's mouth, whether it's your husband, your mother, your children, your father, when you start to hear certain things come out of people's mouth that you love, it's time for you to start praying for them, because now they've been introduced to something unclean. And that spirit must be bound. You don't entertain stuff like that. You don't entertain stuff like that. You don't. And it's not everything that you have to fight aloud. Certain things you got to pray for. There's no need for you to be like all verbal about it, because they ain't gonna get it. But it's disrespectful. It's insanely disrespectful. How can anybody? Because and the thing is, like, the thing about this whole threesome thing, you truly see that it's like, well, I don't really want to stay with you, but in order for me to stay with you, you have to allow me to enjoy another woman in front of you. Can you imagine, you guys? Can you imagine? Can you imagine, like, your husband wants you to sit there and watch him have sex with another woman? Like, excuse me? Like, I'm not even saying like I want somebody to cheat or whatever, but I would respect a man at least who has an affair behind your back and at least tries to protect your feelings. You know what I mean? At least tries to hide it from you. Like, he don't want you to see it because he has some kind of respect for you. Like, nah, she can't be seeing this. No, but when someone is so brazen to say, I actually want to do it in front of you. Huh? And you're going to sit there and you're going to watch me enjoy another woman in front of you. Because it shows you that he didn't think about, well, how would I feel if she told me she wanted me to sit there and watch another man bang her? Because he wouldn't stand for that. So when someone says to you, you should let me do something to you that I would never allow you to do to me, what exactly are we talking about here? That is crazy to me. So you're going to sit there, like you're just going to sit there. Because then on top of that, he's going to go pick someone that he's attracted to. So he's going to have sex with a woman that he's attracted to in front of you. Like, imagine if you have like body issues. Like seriously, imagine if you have body issues and he goes and he finds someone that's like, AKA like hashtag body goals. Jesus. What, like, what does that do to a woman? Imagine while they're quote unquote, y'all fake, because it's not really a threesome, right? It's really them having sex, but he doesn't want you to call it an affair. And on top of that, too, he wants to dominate you. Like, he wants to prove to you that you love me so much. Like, you think so low of yourself that I can do whatever I want and you're still going to stay there. That is dangerous. That is a sociopath. So imagine all of a sudden, you see those two having sex in front of you, and he does something to that girl that he's never done to you before. You're like, oh, where did you learn this move from? Can you imagine? What kind of man would ever want to put a woman, even if you don't love her anymore, for the mere fact that she's the mother of your children, for the mere fact that you recognize that she loves you and she has love for you, why would you ever want her eyes to see something like this? Because once you see this, like, does it ever get out of your mind? Like, I remember, like, during the whole, like, hurricane thing, you guys, it was so nasty out here. The maggots, like, oh my gosh, you guys, I would close my eyes, I would see maggots. Like, I kept seeing maggots for a whole week. But now I don't see them anymore, right? But I can only imagine, as a woman, if you see your husband sleep with another woman in front of you, can you ever get that out of your head? Like, I don't know. Like, and why would anybody do this to anyone? If you no longer love a person, let them go. Why do you want to eat away at their self-esteem? Like, why do you want to consume their entire self-esteem? Why do you want to make somebody feel so small? This is not normal. And that's how you know that you are dealing with an abusive man. When someone wants to make you feel so small. Like, I just act like, I swear, I'm like, a lot of people, like, honestly, I'm not for divorce. I'm really not. But at the same time, I am not for people abusing women. Like, I'm just not for that. You know what I mean? And I've seen that, like, in my own life, like with my aunties, I've seen it growing up a lot. Like my aunties would be reduced to like nothing. It's so sad. It's like they become like a shell of themselves. Loving the wrong man can truly destroy your whole life. Like, for real, for real, for real. It's an awful thing. And for someone to be like, you know what? Even if I don't like I would respect somebody who said, you know what, I don't love you anymore. So instead of hurting you and cheating on you, I would rather we stop, because you are an awesome woman to me. Like, you really are a good woman. I'm just not what you need. Like, it's probably hard to hear it, but like later down the line, you're like, you know what though? At least I respect them for saying that. But to keep somebody around just so you can torture the person, yeah, vice versa too, all answers. Of course, of course. Like, you weren't here yesterday, but I also talked about the sister, like Mercedes Moore. Is that her name? Her name is Mercedes Moore on Instagram. The young lady who was murdered by the guy. He went to her house, he choked her up, and then he stabbed himself in the neck. And then he took lipstick. I guess before he killed himself, he took a lipstick and he wrote like, "Oh, I was used for money. She used me." He said sorry to the landlord. Like, he wrote a bunch of weird messages like all around the house and all around her apartment or whatever with some lipstick. And yesterday I said it also, right? A woman also, if you don't love somebody, let him go. Don't play on people's feelings. And that goes for everybody. Do not play with people's feelings, because people can snap. If you don't really love a man, don't take his money. Don't take his money. Don't take his gifts. Don't lie to him and make him feel like he has a chance with you. Don't lie to him and make him feel like, oh, y'all going to be exclusive. Don't do. Yes, her name is Mercedes Moore. You know her. It's all over YouTube. It was all over Instagram. She's light skinned. She has like 2-point-something million followers. And the man, I think he's probably Cuban, because he has a Spanish name. He drove from Florida all the way to Texas to choke her. He strangled her to death. Can you imagine? That is a horrible way for somebody to die. And then he took a lipstick. He wrote a bunch of messages in lipstick all around her house. But one thing he wrote was, "She used me for money." So maybe like she was lying to him and he kept giving her money. And then she was like, you know, she just kept making him believe in something that just wasn't it. Because I was watching the other brother too. He has a channel now. He calls it African Diaspora. But one thing he showed on his video was she got a tattoo from a man named Corey. And then she was showing off a ring. She was showing off like an engagement ring. It was a big old ring with a big old stone on it. And she was going like this on Instagram. And then like somewhere, it was like either here or here, it had the name Corey. And so people were in the comments like, "Oh, who is Corey? Oh, congratulations to you." Da, 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 da. But the guy's name who came to choke her up, his name is not Corey. Don't do, like, if you know that you're playing bunch of dudes, don't be bragging about nobody's name. That, like, you can't do stuff like this. All this whole hot girl summer, city girls up by 1,000. We're gonna play these little niggas and get their money. Be very careful with that, because not everybody's wired straight. And not everybody takes well being played like Boo Boo the Fool. Don't do that. So I agree with you on all the answers. Like, yes, if you're a woman and you're not really going to be with somebody, if he's really not your type, if he's not your kind, if you never see a future for the both of y'all, do not take anything from him. And if he offers to give you a gift, okay, but know that it doesn't mean anything as long as he clearly understands what's going on. But don't lead people on. Do not play with people's feelings. Don't do that to a person. Whether someone is fat, ugly, light skin, dark skin, your type, not your type. People are people. Respect people and treat people as you would want to be treated. Oh, you know what? I'm glad that you like me. It's good that you appreciate me, but you know, it's not going to work. So I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lead you on. I think you're an awesome person. You know what I mean? Maybe it's me. I don't know. Right. But I wish you all the best, though. But I think you're pretty cool. That's it. Be upfront with your dealings with people. They might be upset. They might cry. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Deandra. I appreciate you. You know, they might be upset. They might get hurt. But at least I'm telling you, when they get over it, they'll have respect for you. Don't mislead people. There's another sister, too. I saw in the neighborhood talk, the man was misleading her, too. You got 2, 3 girlfriends out here. And then I guess he broke up with her and had a new girlfriend. She barged into the apartment, y'all. She started stabbing people. She stabbed him. She stabbed the new girlfriend. Because when you play with people, not only could you put your life at risk, but you can put the life of the new person at risk. And here comes an innocent person in the midst of this chaos, and the person gets stabbed, the person gets shot, the person now has a stalker, and they haven't done anything just because you were not honest and forthcoming with another person. That's not okay to do. You know, some people are very lonely. You don't get to take advantage of them. Some people have very low self-esteem. You don't get to abuse them because of that. Just because you can sense a weakness or you feel that there's a weakness about a person, you don't get to exploit that. Especially if you're black and they black, you can't do stuff like that. We can't that's why I say like black people sometimes don't have pride. Because if you got pride about it, like, yo, what if this was my sister? What if this was my brother? Would I want someone to take my brother's money when you know you don't love my brother? If you don't love my brother, let him go. But don't take advantage of him. What's wrong with you? We all black, like, let's have a certain level of respect, like, for like, yo, like, you know, and you don't even have to like somebody to do the right thing by someone. Let someone go. Let them go before you completely ruin a person. Because when someone has depression, or if someone has a really bad heartbreak, if somebody has a nervous breakdown, you guys, it is so hard to get yourself back up. And I'm like, if you push Tisha to have a severe depression, if you push Tisha to have a nervous breakdown, like, she might even have to get hospitalized. Then like she might have to get her whole life be on medication. You guys, betrayal, it really hurts people. Don't do that stuff to people, even in friendship. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to be friends, if you don't want to be friends with a woman, and if you're a girl, she a girl, if you don't want to be friends with her no more, let her go. But don't just pretend to be her friend. The girl tells you all her business, and you go around and you spread all her business. You could really put her in a really bad situation. Don't do that to people. Don't do that to people. And if you're the kind of person who likes to take advantage of weak people, what's wrong with you? Why are you a sociopath? Why do you act like this? Like, why does it make you happy to see other people hurting? This is not normal. Something is not okay, and you need to get yourself checked. You know what I mean? And one thing you notice about like guys, like I think you can be friends with someone that you're not attracted to. That's not, you know, because even at work, you probably have, you know, people go to work, they have like male friends and coworkers, female coworkers. I don't think just because you talk to someone, you have to be attracted to them, right? Makes sense. But I'm like, I just like, and like, just like with Derek Jackson, because I think Marceau and Maurice, they were also raised by a single mom. And I think a lot of black guys, a lot of men who are raised by single mothers, I think they practice manipulation with their mothers. I think they learn how to pick a woman apart. They learn how to read her weaknesses. I don't know. I feel like the mother is the blueprint for them becoming sociopath. Because Derek Jackson too, right? He was raised by a single mom, and she never had a man. She had all these children. You know what I mean? Like, no man ever came back into her life. So I think like Derek, like, he had to be there for her. He had to give his mom money. He had to be the man of the house. He had to like possibly like affirm her. So I think like The stuff he did on YouTube and in the car, the reason why he was so good at it, because he did it all his life with his mom. So when he deals with these black women on the internet, they're just a mirror copy of his mother. And he has had years of practice with his mom. So he understands. He knows their needs. He knows their wants. He knows their weaknesses. He knows their need for affirmation. He knows how much they need to have a man validate them. Like, he is a predator. He's like an emotional, psychological predator. And his first victim was his mother. And it's the same thing for Maurice, and it's the same thing for Marcel. They've learned. The same thing goes for Martel also. They were raised by mothers who were all alone. So they learned. They have learned them so well that now they apply that playbook on just everybody, and it just works. It works. They're very dangerous. And that's what I'm going to tell you guys. I'm being really serious, right? When you want to marry a man who was raised by a woman, when you want to marry, because I'm telling you, these men be having daddy issues and they have mother issues, right? If you want to date or marry a man from a broken home, raised by a single mother, you need to make sure that y'all go to some serious counseling before you decide to say, yes, I'm going to marry him. You know what I mean? And I think, like, watching all these shows, watching life, marriage in general, we have to stop going into marriage based on how people look, based on how people make you feel. You know, because when something is new, of course you feel good. I'm just saying, hey, fat. You know what I'm saying? We have to go past, oh, I'm going to marry him because he looks good. Oh, I'm going to marry him because he's tall. I'm going to marry him because we have good sex. I'm going to marry him because No. Do not marry somebody based on their looks. Do not marry someone because of the penis size. Do not just marry somebody because of their sex game. Do not just, no. You need to be fully sober when you look at who you're trying to marry. And you have to be honest with yourself. I'm trying to marry someone, or I'm considering marrying someone who was raised by a single mom, has never seen what a two-parent household looks like, has never seen what a supportive husband looks like. You need to be very honest with what you're about to marry. Don't just be on the surface of stuff, right? Because I'm telling you, this is what's showing up. Because when you do that, because in the beginning, you still have leverage. Because you're probably still sexy. You probably still have your little flat tummy. You probably still got your little big booty. You probably got a bunch of numbers in your phone. Like, in the beginning, you still have leverage. Once you start having 1, 2 kids, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, you put on some weight, you don't have as many friends as you used to, your whole life is about cleaning the house all day, you've lost your leverage. Because at that point, it becomes hard to get him to do what you want him to do, right? So it's in the beginning that you truly have a lot of leverage when it comes to these men. So be fully aware with that. If you go to marry someone who does not have a legacy of marriage in his family, your marriage is going to be tried. It is going to be tried. If you marry someone who has a legacy of divorce in their family, you should expect that you will probably have a divorce situation. Whether y'all go through it or not, but something's going to happen. Because it's a conditioning. It's the culture of that household, right? So it's like you truly, truly need to address that. Oh, he's a provider, so he's going to be okay. No. Anybody can provide. There are a lot of men who are abusive who are great providers. Yes. They pay for everything, but they're emotionally abusive. Because just because you produce income does not mean that you are mentally, like, your mindset is a productive place also. No, absolutely not. So you have to be honest with that. I'm not saying don't marry the person, but I'm saying, like, please put in the work, because this man is going to need a lot of help. And if you don't behave the way his mother behaves, he's going to show you a side of him that you didn't know was there, but it was there the whole time. And truly, because when you're in love with someone, it's really hard to ask them the right questions. Like, when you're in love with somebody, it's really hard to see who they truly are, because you want to believe in your fairy tale. So anything that makes you, like, you're like, oh, I don't really want to talk about it right now. I don't know. right? But when you go to a counselor or you go to like premarital counseling, whether it's at your church or whether it's with someone like, professional outside the church, whatever, they don't really care about y'all like that. So they're going to ask really hard questions. They don't know you, don't know him. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Anybody can get it. So you can really recognize who it is that you're trying to build a life with. Who is it that you're really trying to have kids with? Who is it really that you're trying to have as a father for your kids? You need to know that. And most men, they keep that stuff really close to the vest. You might not be able to get it out of them, but the counselor will. Or in those counseling sessions, you'll be able to hear things that you probably never heard before. Like, oh, dang. And then you can make an assessment like, wow, is this something that I can take on? You know what I mean? Is this something that I can take on? The way he sees life, is this something that aligns with how I see life? And am I going to be okay with that for the rest of my life? Like if you have a man who doesn't believe in holding hands in public, if you have a man who doesn't believe in affirming a woman, if you have a man who believes that a woman's role is at the house, and then he's going to get himself, and then he's going to have himself another side chick for his like outdoor activities, right? Because I kind of feel like that's what Marcel is. Like he's that type of man, because it's the same thing also like in Africa, West Africa, whatever. You have men who have like, for them, the wife is for the home. Like she'll be at home with the kids, the house, like she's the home wife, right? But then they always have a side chick. That's who they go out with. That's who they go to the restaurant with. That's who they have fun with. And everybody kind of knows that, yeah, this man has like two. I remember one time my dad would take me to his friend, and his friend, he had two. Like there was like the auntie like that he married, and he had another girl, and she was a nurse. I remember one time my mom took me there. Yes, y'all. My dad took me to his friend's side chick's house, and my mom found out. He took me there. She lost her, like, I remember, I'll never forget. I was like 5 and so. My mom lost her ish. You know what I mean? She just lost it. And then she's like, why would he take me there? Some weird stuff, right? But that was like my dad, like one of his big brother at work. So people knew that that's what he did. That's what a lot of them, they do. They have the wife that, that they married to and they have the kids with and that. But then they have a whole nother household for the mistress. And when I look at Marcel, like that's really what, like that's really what he gives me. Like that's the energy that he truly, truly gives me. So you have to think about these things, right? And you need to know these things. And the only place that you could really know these things is by exercising your leverage early on in the relationship and taking him. You have to take him somewhere where people will force him to talk to you about who he really is. Who he really is, how he really sees life, how he truly sees the role of a woman. Because a lot of people don't go deep enough, and that's why I think a lot of marriages, they don't work, because you didn't really know the person. You met their representative, you met their ambassador, then you got to meet the country. Like, oh my God, what's this country really about, right? But it's like you have to know this. If you marry guys who were raised by their mothers, it's going to be very hard. Because a lot of them have so much resentment against their mothers. A lot of them don't have respect for women. They have a very, very toxic, blurred understanding of what manhood really is. And their understanding of manhood is a very oppressive stance. Oh, you got to check a woman. You have to dominate a woman. You have to bully a woman. You have to keep her at home. You got to keep her in check. You have to do it's so toxic. It's so toxic. And if you're a really sweet girl and you come from a really sweet family and your parents told you that you could do it all, you could be who you wanted to be, and these people going to kill you, and you're slowly going to wither on the inside. Because they don't come from a place where women are valued. They come from a place where women are exploited, women are blamed, women are shamed. Everything is the woman's fault. Because a lot of people, you say, well, it's true. A lot of people who were raised by the mother, they resent the mother who stayed, and they have like these fantasies about the father that was never there. And a lot of people, like let's go deeper, right? A lot of men who were raised by their mothers, a lot of them blame their mom. They're not going to say it out loud, but subconsciously they blame their mother. Maybe if she had been a better woman, maybe if she was listening more, maybe if she was more submissive, maybe if she did what daddy wanted to do, daddy would still be here today. You don't see a lot of men whose father were gone hold their fathers accountable. They put more of the blame on their mothers as to why the father didn't stay, or why the father didn't come around, or why the father didn't send money. They blame their mother. It's all because it's always so much easier. It's always so much easier to blame the woman than to look at yourself, than to look at your dad. And to say, yeah, mom could be a little crazy though, but nonetheless, we are your children and you have to step up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the reason why I didn't come see you because your mama. No, no, no. It's not okay. And so a lot of them have serious resentment against their mothers. But because the culture, tradition, respect, they're not going to let it out. But they're going to put all that venom on you. And now when he looks at you, he sees his mother. Oh, here she is. She wants to be defiant. Oh, here she is. She wants to challenge my manhood. Oh, that. So now he's thinking like, oh, I'm not going to let you punk me the way my mom punked my father. And it's like, what? And this is where the abuse begins. The abuse begins, the emotional detachment, financial abandonment, treating you all kinds of weird ways. Because a lot of black men, low-key, Haley boss, a lot of black men low-key have a lot of resentment against their mothers. I was on a panel one time. This guy was like, oh, if I die, I don't want my mother to come to my funeral. But yeah, she's the one who raised him now. But he would gladly have the father who never gave a single dime to his life. Probably the father who even asked his mother to abort him. Now he can come to the funeral. But his mother, she cannot. A lot of them hate their mothers. A lot of them despise their mothers. Yeah. Yeah, that's how they are. They are very forgiving of the father who never gave, who was never there, who never did anything. They hold them in such high regard. Oh, my father was a real man. How so? Oh, my father did. And then they start picking the moms apart. When the mom starts yelling, oh, you see, this is why he left you. They're probably not going to say it out loud, though, but it's in their head. Oh, that's why he left her. That's why he doesn't come around. This. So then when he meets you as a woman, he's like, oh, she's acting like my mother. So I'm going to do to you what my father should have done to my mother. And now you are being punished for something that you had nothing to do with. And that's what a lot of them do. They're very, very toxic. I remember one time when I was like, well, I started at 16 though, but it's a weird situation, right? Because the church I used to go to, that was in Silver Springs. I used to go to a church in Silver Springs. I was like early teenager. I used to go to church in Silver Springs. And there was a boy that I really liked. I really thought my husband was going to be Haitian, y'all, for real. Worst thing ever. So like him, I'm not going to say his name, but it was like the weirdest situation. It's like, did we date? Did we not date? Where's not? But it's like, it's so funny because he would always look for me. It's so weird. Even to this day, right? We're still friends to this day. But I remember I used to love him so much. And then one day, he was in Chicago, I remember, and we were talking on the phone, and he was telling me, you guys, it was the weirdest thing. Because he was very handsome. Like, I'm telling you, like, Trey Songz. Like, imagine Trigger. Yes, that's exactly, he looked like he, better than Trey Songz, actually. But imagine Trigger, okay? Trey Songz, but with a whole lot more, like, a lot more muscle, a lot more height. Very handsome. I'm like, this Haitian boy is super handsome, right? So one day, we're on the phone. We're on the phone, and he's telling me about these girls he's dating, like, cause that's the thing, because so many girls, because he used to be fat, like, hopefully he doesn't watch the video, but he used to be fat, like he was big, he was fat, right? And then one time he just disappeared for like a whole year. He wasn't coming to church. I was like, what the heck? Then he came back and like, oh my gosh, because he went to boot camp. So he went to boot camp, put muscles on him. So he came back with a new sexy, because he was very cute, but he was just fat. Went to boot camp. It was crazy, right? And from that moment, like, girls just started like swooning over him. I'm telling you, join the military, same thing. Girls were just swooning over him. And so one time I think he was done, but he was living in Chicago, Detroit, somewhere out there. I don't remember, but it was somewhere over there. And so we were on the phone, and I remember we were talking, and he was telling me about these girls that he was seeing. Right. And mind you, he knew I liked it because we had this weird relationship. It was a weird thing. But I just felt like it was so disrespectful. So you're talking, because he used to do that too. Like in the military too, he would do that a lot. Like when he was awake, like during the day, he wasn't really nice to me. But then when he had night duty where he had like a night shift and he would get drunk and things, and he would want to call me. and then talk to me like when he was drunk, then he'd be vulnerable. When he was sober, it was the weirdest thing, y'all. It was the weirdest thing. Thank God for Jesus, we grew up. But that day, I was like, no, this dude is just crazy. We're on the phone, and then he's telling me about these two girls that he's seeing. And I remember one of the girl was a nurse. She was a nurse, like something to do with the hospital. And so she was going out of town. The girl was going out of town. And the girl told him she was going out of town. He was like, yeah. And I told her, well, when she's not here, that another girl's going to be coming through. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I told her that. And then she went out and she went grocery shopping for him. Do you hear me? So let's say her name is Tiffany, right? So she's seeing him. She's trying to get his attention. She's trying to be monogamous, whatever. Her name is Tiffany. Let's say her name is Tiffany, right? Tiffany's like a nurse. So Tiffany's like, oh, by the way, for the next week or so, I have to be out of town for training. Okay. And so he's like, okay, cool, no problem. But just know when you're not there, I'm going to have Bianca come through and we're going to be kicking it. And I said, so when you said that to her, she was okay with it. He's like, yeah. And then she went and she bought me, she went and did grocery shopping. So I'm like, so she bought food so that when she's not here, you and your little side piece can eat her food and have sex, eat her food and go have more sex and eat her food and her. You guys, after that phone call, I was like, this is it. You know what? Go ahead. Because I will never, no. I don't care how good you look as a person. You will never be able to think that because you look good, you're going to pull Marlene into some weird contraption of like worship. I don't worship people. Yeah, it would have been nice, but it ain't the end of the world. They can have you. What? Oh, hell no. You people are crazy. You are crazy. You are crazy. It was like, yo, fat. I was just so disgusted. And that's somebody that had like this when I was like 16, 17. I was just so disgusted. Like how he could just play with these girls like that. Because he knew he looked good. And he knew that I'm telling you, he was, now I don't know about so much, but back then he was very attractive. So he just felt like, and because these girls were just like, ooh, he just felt like, oh, well, give me what I want. If he wants to sleep with you, you should just, I'm gonna sleep with you. If he wants you to give him money, you should just give him money. If he became a monster gigolo. And I was like, hold up, yo, go ahead, carry on. In the words of Beyonce, Giselle No Carter. Carry on. That's why I be telling y'all ladies, don't you ever allow a man to feel like he is like your son, like he is like the centripetal orbit. No. It's okay. Boy, go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine. Woo, child, give me my heart back. Give me my mind back. From that moment, I was like, ooh, distant. I was like, oh wow. So how's that going? And he was just bragging, and I was like, you don't even have enough respect for yourself. Like, and that's the funny thing. It's like when people think they're out here macking, it's like, no, you really are a slut. And a lot of men are just hoes. A lot of men are just slut. Like, you have no respect for yourself. Like, it's one thing to know that you have multiple girlfriends, but must they also feed you as you're out here doing what you can't buy your own food and do your own nasty business? Exploiting women. And that's what I'm telling you. There's such a thing. The same way they want to tell you about black girls having daddy issues, a lot of black men have daddy issues. A lot of black men who are raised by single mothers are very toxic. They are very, very toxic, ladies. They are super toxic. And you need to be mindful of that. Oh, he looked good. And the devil wears Prada. And, oh, girl, he tall and he bald-headed. And after he's done putting you through what he's going to put you through, you're going to find this man so unattractive. I kid you not. Somebody can be so beautiful. Somebody can be so handsome, so gorgeous. So, oh my gosh, the person looks like everything. But once you've experienced the real person, their beauty fades because you're so disgusted. You're so disgusted. And at that moment, somebody that used to be so pretty to you, so beautiful to you, becomes just so ugly. Like, you're such an ugly person. You're such an ugly person. That's why I said looks, they fade. You can be with the most handsome man. But if he treats you a certain way, he looks like he just looks so ugly to you. Like, who is this demon? Like, who is this entity? And the same goes for a woman. You can date a very beautiful woman, but the way she's going to treat you and the things she's going to put you through, Every time you see her, you think you're seeing Medusa. You just want to run. Because like you're like your soul is like, oh my gosh, this is the most hideous creature I've ever seen. Because that person is truly, truly ugly on the inside. And slowly but surely, you start to see it. Like, wow, you really are an ugly person. You're hideous. You're hideous. There's no beauty in your heart. There's no beauty in your mind. Like, there's no beauty about you whatsoever. You're not a good person. So you should never make like, oh, girl, he's so fine. He's so fine. No, he ain't fine. He ain't fine enough for this. And no man look that damn good that he got to put you through this. This is ridiculous. When you only get affection from somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning, the heck? The only time he makes time for you is our hours. Oh, 1 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock at night. Excuse me? What is this? What are we doing here? No. No. He's not that cute, sis. No. No. I would rather be with somebody who's less attractive, who can make time for me at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, make time for me at 7 p.m. in the evening. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Rather be with somebody who is proud to be next to you than somebody who treats you like a weird secret. Oh, come at 1 o'clock at night. Oh, get an Uber at 3 o'clock in the morning. What do you take me for? What does he take you for? What the heck is this? No. What the hell? How can any responsible man who even sees value in you tell you to get in the Uber at 1 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock? What if something happens to you? Because he's looking at you like Uber pussy. That's really what it is. The same way they be out here using Uber Eats to deliver food, they know that's the Uber pussy. Because what kind of man will put a woman on an Uber at 1 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock at night? That's just freaking crazy to me. Then he gets you another Uber at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't even know if you made it safe. No. No. So he could be what? Oh, girl, he fine. But nobody knows it because nobody sees him. People gonna think you out here dating Casper the Ghost because nobody sees him. Nobody's seen him with you. So you sound crazy. This ain't it. Cut it off. Cut it off. And people got to understand, like, the more you waste your time with people who don't see value in you, Ike is dying. No, it's true. People got to be honest out here. It's true. Anybody who wants you to be a secret, they can go. What the hell is this? And that stands for man and woman. If you're a man too, and she never wants you to see her friends, she don't want you to be on her page. She don't want, I don't want her to be on my page. That's a different reason. James said he's going to start his own YouTube channel because he's going back to the gym. So he said he's going to start his own YouTube channel, put his whole chest on the internet. I was like, well, daddy, it is what it is now. Go ahead. Thread those waters carefully. Right. But I'm just saying, like, a woman who makes you a secret, like she always hides you. Why? You're too grown to be somebody's secret. You are too grown to be somebody's secret. So just cry one good time and then move on. I promise you, I've lived long enough. I'm 36 years old. I'm telling you something. If you give your heart something else to love, it will. The heart knows how to move on. You'll be surprised. You're in your head, you're like, I don't think I can. I'm telling you, you will. You don't have a choice. That's what we do as human beings. We heal. Like, if you hurt yourself, your body just knows to, like, reconstruct the skin. Like, that's the same thing with the heart. That's the same thing with everything. We regenerate ourselves, right? So you don't have anything to fear. You don't have anything to fear. Yeah, Jimmy said he's going to start his own YouTube channel. He was asking me how to start his own Instagram page. Does that make sense? But you're too grown to be somebody's secret. This is not Uber pussy. This is not Uber penis also. It's not Uber booty call. Where it's like, oh, I'm just going to get you an Uber. No. If you want to see me that badly, then come get me. So that way I know at least I'm safe. But how can any man put a woman on an Uber at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning to go to his house? What if something happens to her? Then you got to walk yourself in. What the heck? No. 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 I don't like, nah, we're not doing that. I'm not doing that. Because right now you're trying to use me or my body or my vagina or the way you treat me like this. And I go along with that. You want someone to make you feel important. You're looking for someone that you can exert unduly powers over so you can feel important because you're struggling with yourself and you're just not going to use me for that. You're not going to create a hole in me so that you can be fulfilled. You can fulfill some sick fantasy that you have. It's not happening. It's not happening. And you shouldn't allow it to happen to you also. This is not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. If people have emotional deficiencies, if people have whatever kind of deficiency someone has as a person, they don't get to use you as a primer. They don't get to use you as to fill their no. You're a person. You're a human being. Especially if you're a good person. You're a human being. You're a person. You deserve respect. You deserve honesty. You deserve love. You know what I'm saying? You deserve to, if you are of a certain age, you deserve to have a relationship that is reflective of your age. Meaning, we are honest about who we are, we're honest about what we're doing, and we're going to meet at times that normal people our age meet. I'm not coming in the Uber at 1 o'clock in the morning to your house. I'm not coming in the Uber at 2, 3 o'clock at your. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And that's super unsafe. And once a man or a woman, like a man can feel like, oh, all I gotta do is text her and then she'll bring her ass out here, he will never have respect for you. He will never. Because most men love a challenge. Like they love to have what they cannot get. That's why you can't get into the Uber. Not get into the Uber. I don't want to. But if you want to see me, though, we can have a normal date. Make these men court you. Like, make them court you. Make them, like, put effort in courting you. And if you don't want to, then it's fine. Stay home. Wash your hair. Watch YouTube. I don't know. There's stuff on Netflix. But show people, especially like these men out here, show them that you put yourself first. Show them that you know how to practice self-love. Show people that you know how to love yourself. And there's like, you don't have like, there are no, we're not going to argue that. Like, I just don't, You have to teach people how to treat you, even in your marriage also. You constantly have to teach people how to treat you, how to talk to you, how they will treat you and how they will not treat you, like how they will talk to you and how they will not talk to you. You don't get to be like, oh, it's okay. I just won't say anything because I want to keep the peace. Whose peace? His peace? But in your mind, in your body, it's so raging like fire or fury because your emotions are all over the hallways of your mind. No. That's why I said a lot of marriages, they've run their course. They have run their course. People need to stop. People need to stop boasting and, oh, I've been married for 20 years. If the majority of those 20 years you were spent crying, lying about how you felt, faking it for other people, pretending, keeping up with appearances, you should have left at day one. Oh, my Lord. You know what I mean? Because for a lot of people, the marriage is like a prison sentence. But yet you didn't commit no crime. But here you are serving life without possibility of parole. Like, come on now. Even with Tisha too, like even with Tisha, I think like another thing with her too, I think she knows. I think she's not dumb. You can't have two masters and not know. I think she knows what's going on in her marriage. I think she knows that he's seeing another woman. From what I was seeing last night, because I was on the internet last night, it seems like people have linked Marceau to Melody's hairdresser. Y'all can look it up, but it seems like he had a thing, or he has a thing with Melody's hairdresser. So I was like, that's the girl who does Melody's hair. You know what I mean? And I think the thing for Tisha also, the reason why she's playing dumb, or the reason why she's acting like, oh, I don't know what's going on, or I know who I married, and y'all can't tell me about my marriage, bunch of whatever. It's because she doesn't want to be like Mel, where, oh, look, she's divorced. Because for a lot of women, they see divorce as a failure. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be like a divorcee. Oh, look at her, she's divorced. Oh, her marriage failed. How can your marriage fail? As if it doesn't take two people to make the marriage work. So I think because of her pride, like she has a lot of pride. She's competitive with Mel. She competes with Mel a lot. Whatever Mel has, she wants. If Mel has this friend, she also wants that friend. Like Tisha is a very, like, she
she's in a competition with Mel. And I can understand because her husband is attracted to Mel. So I can see how if your husband is attracted to a woman, well, that woman then becomes like your standard. And you want to be a son of hers, right? Because yeah, I think so. I think that's what Mel was like pointing to it, like, girl, we're both being cheated on, right? But Tisha's like, no, I'm not being cheated on. It's like, well, if it's the girl who does Melody's hair, she would know because she does Mel's hair. And that's who, if you go on all over YouTube, if you go on Google, that's who Marceau is linked to. She's one of, I think there's more ladies than that, but she's one of the ladies, right? But because Tisha is in a competition with Melody, she can't bring herself to admit that, oh, Melody and I are really on the same boat. Like, we're both being cheated on. You know what I mean? Because she wants to prove to herself that she has something that Mel doesn't have, even if it's a piece of a man and an illusion of a marriage, because Tisha does not have a marriage. They're roommates raising children. That is not a marriage. Like, I'm so sorry. At this point, you look at Marceau, you look at Tisha, these are two roommates, two Black roommates raising children. That's not a husband. You ain't got no husband, sis. You in it by yourself. And a lot of women are in their marriages. You really are in it by yourself. That man ain't even your friend to fake it. Like, at least somebody who at least saw a friend in you would have faked the, like, okay, I will renew my vows. Like, it'll take you not more than 5 minutes to renew your vows. You know what I'm saying? But he can harp on having a threesome in Vegas. But he can even bring himself to be like, yo, thank you, Tisha. We had great 15 years together. You know, I look forward to having more years with you. Thank you for being my life partner. I think it's been awesome. I think it's been dope. And, you know, I'm really glad I met you. Like, it's not even that deep. Like, he can even do that. You're not in a marriage, sis. It's a partnership. It's like, we got kids. We're going to be here out of duty. The minute they go out to eat, they go to the dinner, and he tells people that he's like, pretty much that being married causes him depression. That he can't even worry about being happy because he has to fulfill his engagement, which is like being a father, being a husband. So pretty much, oh, I'm just here to get the job done. Like, he's just clocking in and clocking out pretty much, right? That's it. Kind of like, well, I'm just waiting for my youngest one to be 18 and go off to college, then I'm a bounce. Because he really sat there at the table and pretty much made it seem like him being married to Tisha, his marriage is causing him to have depression. So now he's just even keeled. What does that mean? He's so emotionally detached to her. I'm like, so if this is where you are at 15 years, y'all don't have no marriage. You're too afraid to do what needs to be done. Either you work on it and find marriage 2.0, redefine what your marriage is going to look like going forward, or you file for separation, and then y'all going to decide if you really want to separate or if you want to work on it. But you go over there, I go over there. I don't think a woman should be afraid of separation. I really do not. Like, I had one of my little sisters too, like, her husband was trying her like that. Like, he wasn't coming home, messing with girls. She's like, "Ron, I'm not doing this." I'm like, "Are you sure?" Because I was like, "Oh, maybe." She's like, "No." She met up her mom one day. She packed her bags and she left him. She sure did. She is crazy. She is crazy. She's Nigerian. She is crazy. She's like, "I'm not doing this." And I was like, you know what? You're right. Life is too short. And if he wants his family, he can fight. I don't think they're divorced yet. I think they're just separated. But I'm like, if he wants the family back together, he can also step up. It's up to you. But you have to show people that you mean business. Call people out on their bluff. Because me, if I was Tisha and you don't want to say that you love me in front of people, by the time we get home, I'm filing for separation. I'm not playing with you. Because why are we here? Why are we here? You know what I mean? But because my thing is, if you don't think that you can love me, if you think that being with me is bringing you depression, no problem. I'll excuse myself. Go. But that's some foul things to say. Exactly. He doesn't love the girl. Because as soon as Mel is in distress, you should see how he goes crazy to protect Mel, to defend Mel. He gonna let Martell know about himself. And I'm like, you can't even step up with that for your wife, though. And she's right there. How can your wife talk to you and every single moment you make her feel like she's dumb for telling you how she feels? Like, I'm just like, it's crazy to me. How can a husband act like, oh my gosh, I'm so surprised that you're insecure? What? As opposed to saying, wow, I'm sorry I made you feel this way. No. Oh, it's you. Everything she says, if she says I have an issue with that, oh, he brings it right back to her. She's the one with the poor mindset. If she says, oh, I'm insecure about this, well, it's your fault because you listen to so and so. And would you even take business advice? I'm like, what does that have? What does one thing have to do with another? I'm so confused. So because I wouldn't take business advice from someone, I shouldn't take life advice from someone, or because I wouldn't have this person renew my mortgage, I shouldn't listen to also what they like. This is crazy. This is crazy. But the reality is, even if Warren Buffett himself told you that you had an issue with your marriage, you wouldn't even listen. So it doesn't matter because you're not really trying to change. You're not really trying to make this marriage work. You just want to dominate this woman. Make sure that she's home raising your kids and that she doesn't divorce you and take almost everything that you have. That's it. He don't care about that lady. And him and his brother are the same way. They take advantage of women. I'm like, whatever what's his name, Maurice did to Kiowa is what this man is trying to do to Tisha. Those Scott brothers they're like, that's just how, like, they're not good people. They're not good people. That he does that too. I'm telling you, every season that's how he talks to her. Since the show started. I remember the first reunion. She was all by herself, defending herself. He wasn't even standing up to her and for her. And then Maurice was like, yo, that's your wife. Like, have her back. He was like, no, I'm just not going to say anything to her. And if she wants to say something, then it's on her. And I'm like, what? Hey, Josita, what's up? Since the first season, I think they've been on air for like 5 years, 5 or 6 years now. This is how he treats her every single season. And the part that truly, truly hurts me is that he knows how harsh people are in the comments with her. He knows how people call her dumb, people call her slow, people call her all kinds of stupid, people call her all kinds of names. Like, he knows that, he sees it. So you would think, even as a friend, even as a human being in the house with her and seeing how it affects her in private, you would think when a new season comes around, he would at least like change his demeanor slightly. No, he keeps doing more stuff to her to make her look even more stupid so that people in the comments can cuss her ass some more. He doesn't even protect her a little bit. Like, you know what? I'm just going to fake it for the cameras. Hey, babe, what's up? Even like, oh, let me kiss her. You can like just fake it just so that you can protect her from people being so critical of her. No. There's a huge bullet coming for Tisha. Marcel gonna be like, oh, let me move my chair so I make sure it don't hit me. That's really how it is. If there's something evil coming their way, oh, let me get out the way. Make sure it hits Tisha. It doesn't hurt me. Like, he's always in like, he's going to protect himself. And she's out there fighting. Like, one time he sat out there and he was like, oh, we're from different side of the track. And he was like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. But he meant it like that. That she grew up poor and she grew up like, with more like country hood people kind of stuff. So he was on there. He's like, oh, we're from the different side of the track. Do you know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. We also grew up homeless. Boy, shut up. Shut up. You know what I mean? I'm like, he judges her. He treats her, oh, you're not smart enough. You're not from good pedigree. You're not this and that. That's like, even the whole thing about her wanting to do like the mommy podcast, her wanting to be more outside the house, her wanting to do more like public speaking, because she knows that he has an attraction for Melody. So she's trying to be that woman for him. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is when you have to play roles just to keep somebody interested in you. That's just too much work. You know what I mean? That's why she's trying to do like this. She's like, if you saw, like, even now, like, she dresses more sexy now. She wears like the 2-piece bathing suit. She wears like the smaller pajamas, trying to show her booty. Like, she wasn't doing that first season, but now you see her trying to be more sexy because Mel is very sexy, right? Mel, I think being sexy really comes easy for Mel. She knows how to be very seductive. It comes naturally for her. She's very feminine like that. Like, it comes naturally for her. But for Tisha, it's not so easy for her. So it's like, that's why she was even trying to be friends with Mel. And Mel was teaching her all these things so that she could be the kind of woman that Marceau finds attractive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like you see, like even like now, like the way she dresses, going by the pool, showing this, wearing all these sexy. Tisha wasn't dressing like that, but she recognizes that he's attracted to Melody. That's why she was like, "Did you give her champagne? Did you go there?" If you didn't feel like your husband was attracted to a woman, if y'all were all friends and sisters and brothers, it would be a big deal if your husband went to Mel's house and dropped a bottle of champagne. You know what I mean? It would be a big thing. But when you know that your husband might have feelings for her, or this is the kind of woman that your husband is attracted to, you are like, you went and gave her champagne, especially now that she's single, right? She's single. So you're like, oh my gosh, like, is he gonna exploit it? Is he gonna try it? Would she ever make an opening for him to slide in through? Does that make sense? So you become more self-aware. But it's like if you don't have if Elena is my sister, if we're all friends, if we're all married together, if my husband goes and drops off a bottle of champagne at Elena's house, okay, it's not a big deal. But Tisha's reaction to him dropping champagne at that house says a lot. Says a lot. Because she's very insecure around Mel. She is. You know what I mean? Like, even trying to like show like, oh, it's okay. I'm not bothered. Like, it's fine and nothing's bothering me. Because she does not want Mel to know that she's not okay. And but Mel knows, because Mel knows her business. Not only is Mel executive producer, not only was Mel married to Martell, so Martell tells her all of Marshall's business. Not only is the girl Mel's hairstylist, Mel knows. Mel knows everything. So it's like, I guess you can go ahead and you can pretend, but I know exactly what's happening in your union. It's like, this man is not really that into you. So what you gonna do about it? You see what I'm saying? So just be honest. And that's why you should never look down on people. Oh, she's divorced, she's that. Don't look down on people, because guess what? Not everybody who's in that situation wanted to be in that situation, right? And just because a woman is divorced or she didn't have a successful marriage, it doesn't mean that she's less than, or because she got remarried, it doesn't mean that she's less than. Like, you realize that some people, you can try to make it work. You can do everything you need to make it work. If the person is just not budging, what do you do? And not everybody has like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 years to stick it out for like one day he's going to change. Like, you know, some people don't, some people do, some people don't. You know, but you can't pretend that you're happy just because you don't want to be perceived that, oh, your marriage is not going good. Like, everybody can see that this marriage has run its course. Like, you're miserable in this marriage. Miserable. You're so unhappy. And he's not even trying to, like, yeah, she's so unhappy. And the reason why she has low confidence, she's like, oh, insecure. I'm not insecure. You're very insecure, Tisha. And it's understandable. She's very insecure. It's understandable. You have a husband who stays gaslighting the mess out you. You have a husband who invalidates everything you say. He treats you like a kid. He talks to you like you're one of his children, like you're his oldest daughter. He talks to you like, oh, well, since you didn't have a good father to put some sense into you, I'm going to give you some sense, woman. Oh, you're thinking like a little girl. Let me show you how a grown woman thinks. How would you know how a grown woman thinks at all? You're not a woman. Oh, these people have only been married for 15 minutes. They can't tell us anything. It doesn't matter. You went to a counselor who's been married for like 25 years. You weren't trying to listen to him. So it doesn't matter. Like, this dude is sick. He's a sociopath. Like, this Marshall dude is really sick. And there are so many Black women who are married to these types of men. And they eat up all these excuses. Oh, I don't want to renew our vows because we're in Vegas. It doesn't matter. Whether it's in Vegas, under the sun, in the pool, whatever. Like, to be really honest with you, you should renew your vows every day. You don't need a special occasion to renew your vows. Maybe that's what Valentine's Day should be for. I'm just saying, but every day, though, every day, a man, a woman, you should be comfortable telling the person that you're married to how much you love them. It shouldn't have to be on a special event or a special day. Like, it should be no problem to you. At any moment, no matter how you feel, no matter like what you're going through in your relationship, like if you really love the person, you should never have a problem. Say, yeah, we've had some rough time, but when I think about it all, I'm glad I'm going through this with you. Exactly, Edith. That's exactly what it is. That's who he was protecting. He didn't want the lady to see it because he has a whole nother relationship. He's polygamous. And when I tell you guys that a lot of these men are polygamous, y'all get mad at me. A lot of men do want to practice polygamy. A lot of black men want to practice polygamy because, black people, even if they're African, most black people are of African descent. African culture, there's always been about polygamy. A lot of these men out here are polygamous. They are polygamous. And that's another honest conversation like people need to have with themselves. Like, are black men even wired for monogamy? Because it's like they resent you because you're not allowing them to be hoes. My mom just came back. My mom came back from Abidjan. Like, she came back on the 28th. We were talking last night. And so she was like, Maureen, I need to start a non-for-profit. Like, she's like, I need to start a non-for-profit so I can take care of women, because the way women are treated in Africa, you guys, it is so appalling. It is so disgusting. Everything is their fault. Like, it's horrific. It is horrific. Being a woman in Africa is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. You wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like, it's just so awful what these ladies have to go through. And it don't matter, from being super rich to being super poor. They're all abused. All of them. They all have trauma. They all have PTSD. They all keep so much stuff. And that's why so many of them, you know what I mean? That's why so many of African women have like ulcers. When you keep stuff in so much, you end up having like digestive issues. You have ulcer issues, small intestine issues, pancreatic issues, all the stress, cancer, all this stuff is stress. All this stuff is stress related. The stress, oh my gosh, the stress. These men, they're toxic, y'all. They're so toxic. And I'm like, the majority of them are polygamous. They want to practice polygamy. So because you are standing in the middle of them practicing polygamy, they must torture you. And they're really good at that. Like, not everybody's going to hit you. Not all men. Now, some people aren't going to hit you. But the stuff they're going to do to you psychologically, you wish they would actually hit you. I'm being serious. Yeah, I'm being so serious. Some of them are so good. They're so good at that stuff. You would wish, like, I wish you would just hit me. So at least I would be like, okay, he hit me right here. Let me cry about this. But like, when somebody has you going crazy, like, they make it seem like you're crazy. Like, the stuff that you know to be true. No, they're like, no, you're not. Like, it's like somebody is like doing, like, they're like brainwashing you in real time. Like, you're being conditioned to be dumb in real time. Like, somebody is conditioning you to ostracize yourself from all of your friends so he can better condition you. So he can have a good old time with his mistress. Can you, like, wow, like, that is so evil. That is so evil. And when you listen to Tisha now, she's starting to talk. He's emotionally abusive. Tisha isn't Maurice and Ish also idiot. Maurice and shit. He's also taking advantage of Kimmy. I don't care what nobody says. Maurice is taking advantage of Kimmy. I'm telling you, these men, oh my gosh, y'all, please hear me well when I say this. Some of the most dangerous men to date are these black men raised by single black women. They are predators of another rank. They are so dangerous. Maurice is using Kimmy. How can a man live in your house? It's her house. The whole time they've been dating, married, they living in her house. You got your son in her house. Eat it. You discipline your son, or your son does things in this lady's home. She's not even aware. You call your ex-wife. Y'all have meetings with your son in this lady's house. She's not even aware, eat it. She got to go to a party for another woman to let her know what's happening in her household. How can you sit here in your own house and say on TV that, oh, Maurice has me on a need to know basis? Excuse me? Excuse me? This ain't it. What kind of man you know? gonna tell you, oh, I'm gonna go study in my office. He's studying out there until 3 o'clock in the morning eating. Who does that? You studying in your office. And that's why one time she had to go in there and pop in and bring the food. Because it wasn't sitting right in her spirit. It wasn't sitting right in her spirit. It wasn't what you study if you 3 o'clock, if you study some libraries, some law libraries will close at midnight. Why can't you come home and finish your studying? No, you're gonna be in your office until 3 o'clock in the morning to study. Like on my forehead, is it written idiot from Africa? Like what is this? What is it? What is this rubbish? What is this rubbish? But once again, like Derek, what's his name? Derek Jackson. They know single women, like these single mothers, they want a man. Because let's be honest, right? Being Black as a woman, you are made to feel as though you can have money, you can have your education, but you're not fully complete. You're not fully successful until you have a husband, right? So a lot of women who've never experienced marriage, they're desperate for that. You know what I'm saying? And even, I'm not trying to be offensive at all because, Kimmy, nothing to me, and I have nothing, Kimmy. Honestly, I have nothing against any of the ladies out there because to me, the man is the problem. But it's like, I think Kimmy is older than Maurice also. When I look at her and I look at him, she's older because Miss Wanda always says things like, oh, her and I at the same age. I'm like, how old you is, Miss Wanda? You know what I mean? Because it seems like Kimmy and Miss Wanda are close in age. So I already know Maurice is younger than her. She's a cougar. Not trying to be offensive, right? You know what I'm saying? But she's older than him. So even that in itself also, it creates certain insecurities. Just like when Tammy, not trying to be disrespectful, we just having a conversation, right? Just like when Tammy Roman with the guy, the Haitian man that she with, because she's older than him, right? And so he wanted to have kids. She couldn't give him children. And that creates a certain insecurity, right? When you are an older woman, they ain't gonna lie, menopause is real, okay? When you're an older woman and you're with a man in his prime, a younger man than you, a very young, attractive man, a young buck, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You're always going to be insecure about things also. Like, let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you look at Kimmy and Maurice, their marriage is only a piece of paper. They don't have children together. Like, there's nothing that truly will force them to make it work because that's all they have. It's like, okay, like you, my wife, you, my husband. It's just a piece of paper. They don't have children together. They don't have, oh, we built a house together. We invested. No, they're living in the lady's house. And that's just me. I'm like, this Maurice dude, he got more divorces in him. He's not done yet. Because she's not goals for him. The way he was pressing her to quit her job, because when he needed money and he needed help, when he moved from wherever he's from to Huntsville and he had nothing, he didn't mind that she was a nurse because that's what was keeping them afloat. That's how they're living in the house that they're living in. That's how she's paying the mortgage. That's how she takes up all the stuff with the nurse salary. But now that he's finally getting back on his feet, probably get some kind of money from the show, get some exposure, like his business starting to do good. Now he's graduated, got his law degree because she financed all this for him. Even if she didn't pay for his law degree, she created a space where he could thrive as he pursued his law degree while she was the nurse. So he leveled up on her. Then he's done with his stuff. Like, oh, now he got an issue with her being a nurse. Oh, go into real estate. Be a boss this, be a boss that. It's like, but what makes you think she's not a boss? If you do your job and you do it very well and nobody's complaining and your clients, they love you, you a boss. What's the problem? They live in Kimmy's house. That's her house. That's Kimmy's house. That's Kimmy's house. And it's not like he said, oh, we gonna get married. Let's go buy a new house where I'm gonna pay the down payment and the mortgage. No, they live in her house. But yet he wants to tell about how she raised her son. He wants to tell about how her son needs to be more this and more that. But I'm like, he's in the house. He has discussions with Kiowa in her house. She's not even aware. She don't even know. And she'll say, she's like, oh, sometimes when he talks to Kiowa, it's like I'm not even in the room. I'm like, yes, Kimmy, do you not understand? You're like a stepping stone for him, Kimmy. You're not his forever home. This man is up to like he's up to no good. It's like these brothers are useless. How can you be in a whole house? Everybody's calling Kimmy all kinds of side chick. Like they were calling her all kinds of side chick. And everybody was laughing at it. And he's there laughing too. They went from the kitchen all the way out there to the pool, calling her all kinds of side chicks. And he's like, but you say one thing about his son vaping, he wants to turn like the Incredible Hulk out here. Oh, we gonna make this sure, we gonna make sure we understand this. We gonna make sure we got this thing straight. We gonna make sure, because people who don't know Monster, well, if you don't want people to think bad about your son, maybe you should not call him Monster. His name is Maurice. Why would you call a little black boy Monster? He's not a monster. You never see Maurice send people out here like, let's get one thing straight. Kimmy was never a side chick. No, he don't care. Because she's not his forever home. She's not. He don't care. He don't care. I'm like, you can check everybody about your son. You can go in about everything about your son. But like you guys, it's not funny. Like even if she was a side chick, you don't want that stuff to stick to her. Look what happened to Alicia Keys. Look what happened to Alicia Keys. And to be honest with you, I really think she was a side chick. I just don't think she knew. I don't think she knew she was a side chick. I really thought, because you know, that's the thing. If you meet a man, right? If you meet a man, every time you call, he picks up. You go to his house, he's by himself. You guys see each other all types of hours, all types of days. You're like, okay, maybe he really is single, right? He's telling you, her and him, it's over. She's all the way out there in Michigan. How you gonna check? You meet his brother, you meet his sister-in-law. Like, yeah, whatever. Because that's how some people do. They will lie. They will lie to you. So I really think that she didn't know she was a side chick, but she really was a side chick because he was not completely done with Kiowa. But Kimmy didn't know. So technically, she was a side chick. Was she willingly a side chick? I don't think so. Because like she says, Maurice only tells her things on a need-to-know basis. So I really believe that he didn't tell her a whole lot of things because it wasn't convenient for him. Maurice has a plan in his head, and then he just uses people. Just like his brother. They love to use people. Cuckoo Noble, they like to use people like that. They use you. They see people as a means to an end. They don't see people, yo, that's a human being. You can't do this to people like that. Oh, well, I need to do this. I need to have my credit. I need a place to stay. I need to go to law school. I need to make sure that my son comes to live with me. So I have to show that I can take care of the boy, right? So like, Kimmy, we're going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to have sex with her. I'm going to, licky the cootie. I'm going to tell her I love her. I'm going to put some pipe on her. I'm going to call her babe because he knows she's insecure. They know. These people, they're predators. They're predators. You'll be surprised how many people prey on single black mothers. They're sick. They prey on them because they know they have a need. They need, like, you know, nobody wants to, y'all, let's be honest too, bro. Let's know some real stuff. Like, nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to be alone. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to come home every day and it's just you all the time. Like, it's like, it gets lonely. You know what I mean? People, like, everybody wants to have a lover. Everybody wants to have romance. Everybody wants to have, like, well, not when you get to a certain age now, not about your little children, but, you know, everybody wants to have, like, great sex. Everybody wants to have intimacy. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to be alone. Like humans are not meant to be alone. It's just not how we're wired. So when you do get to a certain age and it hasn't happened yet, you become a bit more desperate. And those people who are trained to take advantage, they can smell that stuff. They smell it, they see it. Yes, because it really matters to her. Even if she's like, oh, the three-something, because she's older. And when you're an older woman with a younger man, you feel like you have to compensate for your age. And it's like, no, you do not. He willingly got with you knowing that you was older. The hell? Because you see, every time he does things to her that really, even when he did The Office, he went over budget, which lets me know her money was involved in him doing his office. When do you ever see Maurice do anything nice for Kimmy? When? Like, we out here, we watching the show. When do you ever see him, like, take her out to eat? When do you ever see Maurice like buy a bunch of roses and she comes home and there's a bunch of roses everywhere? When do you ever see Maurice trying to give her massages? When do you see Maurice buy her a new car? When do you see Maurice buy her a bunch of wigs? When? She's always doing for him, throwing a graduation party for him, cooking and bringing it to his office, raising his son, putting up with his ex-wife, pulling up with his sister-in-law, putting up with his brother. Like she does too much. It's like she's paying for love. It's sad. I can't judge her, you know what I mean? But it's still a little pathetic though, because she's paying for him to love her. Because if she don't do these things, he's gone, and she knows that. Dressing sexy, talk about how freaky she is. It's for him. It's for him. And I'm like, people out here after all this stuff, like your law school, you out here studying every night outside. Every day he's studying till 3 o'clock in the morning, girl. Okay, I guess. I don't know. What the heck? And this is what this law school is. I mean, go. What is this? I just don't understand this stuff. She put up with that, threw you a graduation party, she puts up with so much foolishness. What does he do? Criticize her on being a mother, criticize her on how her son turned out, criticizes her on her career choices. Like, it's like he looks down on her. He looks down on her. He's not a good person. His turn, like it's. I think like the first good years of the show, we really focused on what's his name, Martel. Now we're going to really focus on Marcel. I think like the next chapter is going to be Maurice, because he's going to be exposed also for who he really is. And every time you see Kimmy, when she talks about things that really offend her, like she really tries to keep it together. He gaslights the mess out of her too. He does it. She's like, oh, it's okay, babe. I don't want you to be upset. But when it's Miss Wanda, she'll knock the table. She'll shake the table. When it's Tisha, she'll do like, she takes her anger out on other people. But when it comes to Maurice and his foolishness, she ain't got no energy for him, because she don't want him to go. She don't want him to go. I mean, I don't know. Is the dating pool in Huntsville like that small? Because it's really, really concerning. But Kimmy is not happy also. She's not happy. Even when they went out to the nightclub, whatever, they were sitting there, she was so heavy because, first of all, they kept calling her a side chick the whole night. And then Tisha was like, oh, I hope you don't mind me asking him this, Kimmy, but, oh, Maurice, Kyle told me that y'all could have worked it out and you stayed, or you fight. Was like, oh, I didn't want to fight. And she was like, oh, because she was hurt that Tisha would even ask the question. I'm like, no, Kimmy, you should not be upset that Tisha's asking the question, because you need to know how Maurice fights or he doesn't fight. Because if Maurice was with Kyle for 10 years, 15 years, when he was broke all the way to whatever, and he just got up and leave, you need to know this. Because if at least you know that he really fought to stay with Kyle, you'll be like, okay, here we have somebody who truly takes commitment seriously. So if he's married to you, or if he's engaged to you, if he made a promise to you, he's really going to work above and beyond to try to make it work. Like he really tried. But when you're the second wife, when you are the second wife on a need to know basis, second wife, and you hear a man say to you, oh, well, there was nothing to work on. I already made up my mind. And oh, damn. If he left his first wife that easily, what do you think he's going to do to a second wife that's older? He ain't got no keys with you. He ain't got no mortgage with you. What do you think he's going to do to you? What do you think? So you need to know. Like, I remember I had a friend back in Mason. Too. She was dating this guy because she was trying to be engaged to this guy, right? She was trying to be engaged to this guy, and he was divorced. Weird black people, right? He was divorced. Weirdest story, because it gave me the heebie-jeebies. So he was divorced. Listen to me carefully. He was divorced, and the girl filed for divorce when she was diagnosed with cancer. So she got diagnosed with cancer. She divorced him, packed her bags, ran to her father's home. She ran back to her parents. And I remember telling her, I said, Dee, this is not normal behavior. Because if someone gets diagnosed with cancer, they usually want all the people that they love next to them. Like, if you're married to a man and you get diagnosed with cancer, you're going to even want to be more, like, be closer to him because your days are numbered. You know what I mean? But you get diagnosed with cancer. You're like, you know what? This is a time for me to do something I should have done a long time ago. There's something is wrong with this man. Because when she started dating this guy too, she became so different. She became so different. Like she stopped eating meat because he told her to stop eating meat. She wasn't doing this because he told her to. And I hate girls who allow guys to come into their life and completely transform their whole shebang, bang, bang. Like if progressively you want to go, then no problem. If you want to stop eating meat because you have your own personal conviction about eating meat and you don't want to eat meat no more, that ain't no problem. But it's like you're just gonna stop eating meat because that's what makes him happy. That is weird. And I said to her, it would behoove you to get in contact with his ex-wife to know exactly why she left. Because me, Marlene, it does not settle well in my spirit that as soon as this lady gets diagnosed with the cancer, she divorces him, runs to her father's home, and she told me that he tried to go to the parents' home to meet her, and the father said, "Get away from my daughter." I don't know if the father had a gun, but the parents were not having it. They did not want him to get close to their daughter. So I'm like, he must have done something awful to this girl, and you need to find out. Divorce is a serious thing. Why did you divorce the person? What happened? And you cannot just take his side. You need to go ask the lady. What happened? Because she could really, a lady could really put you on game and let you know, like, this is what happened. Like, oh, wow. Because he's not going to tell you. But only God knows what he did to this young lady. And then when she finds out that she has cancer, she wanted nothing to do with him. Nothing. She just, phew, gone. Don't call me anymore. Don't contact me anymore. Do not reach out to me anymore. What does that tell you? Okay. 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 So you need to know. Because if he didn't fight for the first one, he's not going to fight for the second one. So like Maurice, he's just using Kimmy because she's financially stable. She has good credit. She makes good money. She doesn't really need him financially. So he can focus on his business. He can focus on his son. He can focus on making the investments that he needs so he can be a successful, rich black man with generational wealth, right? But I don't see him being with Kimmy forever. I think it's a season. And then once he gets to another season of his life where he has more money, more success, more affluence, more recognition, he's going to go find himself a little 20, 25-year-old girl. And that's who he's going to have more kids with. I'm like, you've been with Kimmy for 7 years. You don't want to have more kids. You just want to have one kid? No, she's not his forever. So he don't want no issues with like custody, child support. He don't want that. So he's going to wait when he gets to where he really is trying to get to. Might even move out of Huntsville because he's very ambitious. Move out of Huntsville, go somewhere like LA, California, the LA, the DC, the whatever. He's the Austin or the Houston or the Dallas, Texas, right? Or the Atlanta, and gonna go practice law at a big law firm or have his own law firm. And you'll see him with like the little 22, 24-year-old Instagram girl. That's who he's gonna get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? She might be like little light skin, the little expensive ass stroller, and because that's what he wants. A lot of these guys they trying to have the life of Jay-Z, right? Like they I don't think she's too old to have kids. I don't think so. No. I don't think so. I don't think he wants kids with her. He's not done yet, you guys. I've been watching these people for 5 years, and I see his behavior. He doesn't protect her also. They were calling that lady all kinds of side chick, like from the kitchen all the way out there to the pool, and he was just laughing. He thought it was funny. He was like, his brother is taking advantage of his son, of his stepson. He doesn't step in to be like, no, Marcel, you can't do that to him. Like, it's not fair. It's your business. People can have kids. And then also they can have a surrogate. They can adopt. Like, they can build a family together. They can have something to fight for. But he doesn't want that. And he knows why. Because this is not his forever home. He's not. Just like Marcel. I wouldn't be surprised also if he's waiting for the youngest one to go to college. And he's like, well, I'm out of here. I wouldn't be surprised. You got to recognize people like the way they move. Like, when someone is trying to build a forever home, they do certain things, right? But he's not. I'm like, he's not done yet. Yeah, you need to tune in. He's not done yet. I'm telling you, that she's probably gonna be like wife number 2. Like Maurice probably has 2 more divorces in him. I see him having like a 3rd wife and a 4th wife. Because he's never happy. He's never content. He's very greedy. Him and his brother are very greedy. They're not like, they feel like, oh, they gotta have more cars, more money, more success, more this. Like he was harassing the lady to quit her job. And she didn't even want to do it, but she kept faking it. So now she's doing real estate part-time just to make him happy. But she don't really want to do that. She's happy being a nurse. She's perfectly happy with the money that she makes. Like she's okay with that. Like she's fine with that. And he's like, you got to want more. You got to have more. We got to have a Maybach. We got to have this. We got to have that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to meet Jay-Z. Like, that's how they are. Toxic manosphere. They're never happy. They always want more and more and more and more. So people like that, they're never gonna be happy with one person. They get bored easily. So right now she's for a season. When Monster goes to college and he no longer needs her, then he's gonna be like, okay, now he's free. He's gonna go somewhere, find another woman. That's when her and Kaiwa are gonna be really good friends. Like, oh wow, now I see how he did you. You know what I mean? Because women are so male identified, right? They're like, well, you must have done something. That's why he picked me over you. Nah, girl, y'all the same. Y'all a bunch of sister wives in the spirit. Okay. So I had a friend like that too. It was the same thing. She was dating this guy. He was with another woman, got her pregnant. They had a baby. And so they went out to some city because he was trying to put game on her, whatever. They went to a city. And then while they were in that city, the lady, the baby mother, was getting deported. Like she was getting deported. And he didn't even do anything. He wasn't shocked. He wasn't bothered. He wasn't like, because he was a U.S. citizen. He wasn't even like, oh, let me try to get her out of the situation. Like, that's the mother of my kid. He didn't care. And she thought it was funny, right? Kiki, ha, ha, drinking, having sex. Well, a few years down the line, guess what position she was in? The same position. He didn't want to sponsor her. He was calling immigration, trying to make all kinds of issues for her. She had to sneak papers out of his house. She had to sneak all kinds of births. Like she had to sneak all these documents out of his house just so that she would at least get some kind of citizenship, right? Because he didn't want to give it to her. But I said to her, when you saw him being wicked towards another woman, from one woman to another, from one Ivorian to another, you should have said to him, this is not okay. How can you be here with me drinking and doing all this stuff when the mother of your child, and also as Ivorian people, like they about to deport this girl and you have the ability to save her, but you thought it was funny. You thought it was funny. Now look at your ass. You in the same position as her. So don't ever have a man confuse you so much that you think like you're so much better than the other girl. You're so much more beautiful. You're so much more submissive. Hell no, girl. Boo, boo, boo. Because in a few years, he gonna have you in the same predicament that he had the first one before you. Always have mercy on the woman. Like, because you're a woman too. You're a woman too. And I'm telling you, like the way a man leaves his ex, it says a lot about him. That's why I respect George Clooney. George Clooney got a bunch of exes out here. But you never see these women out here cuss him out, embarrass him, dog him, because he knows how to break up with a woman. He doesn't try to embarrass you. He doesn't make you feel stupid. He doesn't take everything away from you. No. The way you were when you met him, the life he had you living, he will maintain your lifestyle. He's very respectful. So that's why every time he has, even like when he got married to the girl, all his exes were so happy for him. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you guys. And I'm like, that's a gentleman right there. That's a real G. Like he knows how to, this thing is no longer working out, but don't worry, I'm going to take care of you. I'm not going to embarrass you. No. So like he leaves you with so much respect and dignity. So you're like, okay, you wish probably would have stayed with him, but it's okay. And then you guys can always be friends. And it's good energy. It's good vibes. Right? But a lot of these black men, like they don't know how to peacefully separate. When they find a new woman, they're going to gas her up to go attack the old woman and make her feel like she's bitter. Oh, she's an angry baby mama. She's a bitter. But like, if you see people say that, like I see that so much on Instagram, like like in these black blogs, like they'll call the woman like, oh, she just being a bitter baby mama. And I'm like, if you are a baby mama, why should you not be bitter? If anybody put you in that position, you would be bitter. Like, come on now. Like, stop acting like being bitter is not a normal reaction. You should be bitter. Hello, you will be bitter too. Come on now. Who wouldn't be bitter? It's a normal reaction. And if a woman is still bitter after a breakup, if the mother of a child is still bitter, that means like you as a man, you didn't do things the right way. You didn't take care of your business. Because had you taken care of your business, she wouldn't be bitter. She'll be like, oh, I'm so happy for you and your new relationship. Right? So if a woman is bitter, don't shame her for being bitter. Don't make fun of her for being bitter. There's a reason why she's bitter. Will Smith is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to take care of your business the right way. There's a way to break up with someone. And you'll see she'll be happy for your next relationship. Like, oh, it didn't work out bad. We're friends. He's really nice. Like, I have nothing bad to say about him. Because it was done respectfully. No, but these people always want to create chaos and commotion. Because in chaos and commotion, no one ever really knows the truth. Like, nobody will ever truly see their real face. Like, nobody will really know what these people are truly about. So that's why they love chaos. That's why they love commotion. That's why they love confusion. Because as long as there's chaos, confusion, and commotion, they never truly have to be held accountable. You will never really see the true face of these men. And you think, oh, she's crazy, she's bitter, she won't let him go. Of course, they have unfinished business. They have unfinished business because the way he left, it wasn't right. They have unfinished business. And you cannot be mad at somebody for being upset because there's unfinished business. Yes, there's a way to break up with people. If you're going to leave someone, you should tell them why you're leaving. Don't just up and go. That's cowardly. Tell somebody, I'm breaking up with you for this, and that. Then the person would say, okay, do you think we can work on it? You say no. She'll be like, okay, why do you think we can't work on it? Be an adult, like have a conversation with someone. Don't just run. Don't just run. That's cowardly. That's cowardly. So yes, when there's unfinished business, people gonna still be in their feelings because there's unfinished business. So you gotta take care of your business. Be a man, like sit down with her and tell her exactly why you're leaving. What's the problem? No, like these people are crazy. Like seriously, they're insane. And I hate that. That's the same thing with Medusa. Like people always trying to make Medusa out to be like an evil woman. No, she wasn't evil. She wasn't evil. Like a man put her in that predicament and a woman put her in that predicament. Like she has reasons to be angry. Like I don't like when people act like, oh, you're crazy for being bitter or you're crazy for being upset. Like you're crazy for being a baby mama. She should be. Anybody would be. It's like telling Agar, oh, you're just bitter because, oh, Sarah finally got pregnant. Hell yeah, she bitter. Hell yeah. Because first and foremost, you didn't have to drag her into your infertile mess to begin with. Okay? You could have waited until you got pregnant. Why you drag me into this? Then when she's no longer convenient for you, then when she what's it called? When the girl, like when she's no longer convenient for you, y'all just throw the girl away in the wilderness by herself with the baby. Like, well, who does that? Who does that? So of course Agar was bitter. How would you not be bitter? They ruin your life. You're 18 years old. They take you from your people. You have a baby by like an 80, 90-year-old man. So now you're damaged goods. Then once the wife is no longer comfortable, she's like, oh, just kick her out. Just throw her away. Huh? And then you just throw her away with the baby in the wilderness? Of course she's bitter. Who would be bitter? Can you imagine you yourself in the wilderness by yourself with a newborn, like with a little baby? How are you not going to be bitter? Just like Nandi and Shaka Zulu. If you're Nandi, this man flirted with you, told you all this game at the river. Okay, Dumla was Zulu. Okay, all that stuff he was telling her at the river in Zulu. No offense to my Zulu people. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm going to marry you, woman. I'm Shaka Zulu. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff, whatever. And you fall in love with this man. You have sex with the man, you get pregnant. Now he acting different. Like, oh, you're not from the right group of people. Excuse me? What? Then people embarrass you. You're out there raising a son, and mind you, your son is actually the grandson of the king. Why are we struggling? Why am I here struggling? Why are me and my mama struggling? Why are me and my kids struggling? People pick on you, make fun of you, call you all kinds of whore. What kind of whore is this? Hold up, wait a minute, what? How would you not be bitter? Like these men, they do stuff to women, and then they go tell other women, oh, y'all need to go pick on her. Y'all need to go beat her up because she bitter. She won't let me be. No, tell the truth. Go sit down somewhere. That's why I find it so disgusting when you have other women who go and fight for a man. Don't fight for him. Because whatever, when he was saying things to that girl, when he was having sex with her, when he was flirting with her, you weren't there. You don't know what he told this girl. You don't know what kind of promises he made to this girl. So if she's bitter, there's a reason for that. Sis, what happened? What did he promise you? Because these men, there's nothing they will not say to a woman when they want to have sex with her. They'll tell you everything you want to hear. Make all kinds of crazy promises to you. Oh, I'm going to love you forever. Oh, it's just you and me against the world. Blah, 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 blah. Like gas your head up. Then you start opening up. You start becoming vulnerable. Okay, I love him too. I guess I love him. Then you realize like, wow, he says that to everybody? Oh my gosh. Like, how would you not be bitter? How would you not be? Like, I'm so like, what? Excuse me, what? How would you not be? These men do a lot of evil things to these ladies. And of course they bitter. Who wouldn't be? I would probably be bitter too. This is not okay. It's not okay. How would you not be bitter? But you're supposed to be like, oh, it's okay. It's fine. No, it's not okay. It's not fun. And so what? Because he's in a new relationship, I should keep the peace? Why? No. No. He shouldn't have brought commotion into my life. That's it. Tell the truth to people. You know what? I wasn't honest. I just wanted to sleep with you. But I didn't think we were actually going to be together. And I didn't think you were going to let me hit unless I lied to you. Okay. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. That's why even the girl like Summer Walker, she'll be like, oh, I don't know why these girls keep bothering me. And I try to make peace with you. It's like, Summer, stop. Stop. Don't act like you're Switzerland out here. But like, yes, they always bother Summer. Be quiet. Be quiet. You don't know what goes on in the background. You have no clue. Okay? And it's because Summer is, and the thing is like when a woman is popular, people always take her side. She could be a hell of an aggressor and behind the scene. You don't know this girl. You don't know them people. You don't know the dynamics of their relationship. You don't know. You don't know. So yeah, maybe you did. Oh, I told London to bring you so I could talk to you. No. Why? What would I talk to you for? She don't want to talk to you. And if she feels this way because London is doing something to her. Like, oh, Summer be trying. Summer be trying. Summer was the same one who was saying that some baby mamas are trying to make too much money off of child support. So let's not act like she wasn't doing microaggression stuff too. Then when she became a mother herself and she saw a demon, because a lot of these guys, when you don't have a kid with them, they are a certain way. And then once you get pregnant and they have to go through the pregnancy with you, they have to go through postpartum with you. Well, as soon as you have a baby, a lot of guys flip. They become a different people. They become a different person. So she had like, when she was, I guess, like trending and famous, like and single, and she had her body, she experienced a certain kind of London. Then when she had the kid, she experienced what these other girls had experienced. Like, we can all know a person, but we can all have different experiences with the person. And one does not invalidate the other. Like, for example, like when, what's her face? When Eva came out and she was trying to defend Michael Costello, like, oh, he was nice to me and I walked for him. That's cool, right? That's your experience. And it's a valid experience. You had a positive experience with Michael Costello. But at the same time, also, you are famous. At the same time, also, you have a certain aesthetic that is desirable. At the same time, also, you want America's Next Top Model. So he's a businessman. Like, he's in the fashion industry. So it's not to his benefit to have an issue with someone of your stature. But that's the experience that you had. Cool. But it's also possible that another person had a racist encounter with Michael Costello. Because people have different sides to them, right? Like a lot of business people, you don't really know the real them. You only know their business side because they're trying to make money. Just like YouTubers. YouTubers have a lot of different sides to them. But on YouTube, on social media, for money, for likes, for endorsement, they only show you a certain side of themselves. But people who get to see them at the gym, people who meet them in the streets, people who probably part of the family, they experience a different side of that person. So people are not crazy for giving an account of a person that doesn't match the person that you know. You haven't met that person yet, because they don't want you to meet that person yet. Am I making sense here? So when you date a man, he could be so awesome to you. Like, oh my gosh, I don't understand why these girls would be mean to him. I don't understand why these girls would attack him. I don't understand why these girls are coming after his personal image. Because he needs you to believe that he's good. So that way, when these girls attack him, you can say, no, that's not true. That's what people do. Like, let me tell you a good story, right? Let me tell you a good story, right? Like, you can understand something cool, right? Like, even like the whole situation with Nikki and her husband and getting the girl to recant the story. Because people were like, oh, even if the lady recanted the story, it wouldn't even matter because he was already convicted. But the reality about it is, right, when you are a PR person, if you understand PR, right, people don't really care about the truth. People care about having different stories out there. Does that make sense? Because when you look at someone like Nikki doesn't really care about corporate America. Nikki does not care about people. Like, no, Nikki is that toxic, not trying to be offensive, but Nikki is a toxic proverbial package of Black identity, right? Like that ratchet, toxic, ghetto, you know what I mean? Like, where they only care about what the streets got to say. The streets, the streets, the streets, the streets, the streets. You know what I mean? It's like, but you live in Beverly Hills, though. You're worth $150 million, though. But it's them kind of people. Like, they can have so much money and they still only care about the streets. Like, just like there's some real African stuff, right? Like, it don't matter how successful they are. They care about what people in the village got to say. Because if your reputation is not good in the village, whatever you do in the city, it don't matter. So it's the same thing here. But in African American colloquialism, we call it the streets, right? In Africa, they call it the village. You see what I'm saying? But it's the same thing, right? So for her, it's like, even if she knows he did that stuff, even if she knows he's guilty, as long as there can be another story out there, it benefits her. Like, when somebody says something about you, whether it's true or not, what you do is, if you have enough money, if you have good PR, you put another story out there. Because as long as there's two contradicting stories, you can make it through. Right? But when there's only one narrative about you, it's very hard. So what Nikki wants her fans to believe that she would never marry somebody that would do something like that. The girl lied on him. That's what she wants her fans to believe. And so for that, she just needs something to show the barbs. Because at the end of the day, Nikki not worrying about CNN and all the people. They don't buy her music. She's worried about her fan base. So if she can show something to her fan base, like, yo, look, she recanted the story. The white girl lied, y'all. They gonna try to take another Black man down. Cause, oh yeah, we know this, Nikki. You would never do something like that. Da, 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 da. So it's not so much as if like she wants everything to go away, or she wants the justice system to take the stuff out. No, she just wants another story out in the streets. Because as long as there's two stories out there, people can keep fighting on who's right and who's wrong. And as long as people are fighting on well, is this the true story? Is this the false story? Da, da, da. As long as people can keep doing this kind of stuff, you get away scotch-free. You see? But if the lady does not recant, then it's like, oh. And then you offer her money, she said no. You threaten her, she said no. And now she's coming on TV. Now she's taking a double stance on what happened. So it's like, damn, that stuff really happened. So it's not a good look for her. But if the lady had recanted the story, even if it didn't change anything in the legal system, as far as the streets are concerned, because don't take it the wrong way, but Black people in America, especially African Americans, the streets is a really big thing. It's like a big deal. Oh, the streets, what the streets is saying, the streets. The same way, like for African people, the village is everything. If you successful or you're rich or you whatever, you're in America, you're in Europe, and you don't have a house in the village, you ain't shit. It's the saying? I'm like, that's what like Elena says, it's fascinating. Generations removed from Africa, but yet it's the bloodline. I'm telling you. Like, if you're an African person and you have money, you have education, you can do all the stuff. But if you don't have a house in the village, you ain't shit. You didn't make it. You only make it when you have a house in the village. Like, if people in the village do not know your name, you haven't made it. And for African Americans, this is what they call the streets. So I'm like, yo, I get it. It matters because to African people, your village reputation, like they have a joke about Igbo people. Like they say, oh, you know what I mean? They have a joke about Igbo people. They say like Igbo people will go to a village and build mansions. So like it's hilarious because it really matters. It matters that your people validate your success, right? Because these are the people who matter to you. You know what I'm saying? Like if your village is everything, like your moms is there, your aunties, your uncles, everybody goes back there, whatever. So it's important for it to have something that symbolizes that you are a son or you are a daughter of the village and you've made it and you came back and you did something for the village. If you haven't, you ain't shit. Because if your uncles, your aunties, your grandpas, your people in the village, if they hear that you out there in the city and you living it up, they will come to your house. You guys, people, they're crazy. Yo, they will show up at your house, call you all kinds of failure. So you have this big old house and there's nothing in the village. You know what I'm saying? But here in Black America, it's the streets. The streets is the village. It's your roots. Like it's your core. These are your roots. It's the streets. So if the streets don't validate you, it's like you can have corporate success. You can have success with white people. It's like, we don't care because the streets don't know you. So the streets are very important. So whatever is said about you in the streets, it's seriously important, especially when you're a rapper. Because if the streets no longer F with you, you know what I mean? If the streets no longer respect you, you're done. So the streets, they matter. So you got, like, just like if somebody calls you a snitch, right? That's not good. That's dangerous in the streets. Like, it's not good. Your reputation's not good. So it's like you got to have another story out there to say, oh no, he ain't a snitch. When they pulled him over, he didn't say nothing, and then they arrested him, because it's your reputation. And the streets, like what the streets say about you, it means a lot to a lot of people. And it's the same thing, right? So when you're a public figure and you date women or you have baby mama issues, you're going to look for a young girl that you can mold into becoming your spokesperson. So that way there are contradictory stories about you, right? So these girls, you know what you did to them. You did them completely wrong. Like London Attract is not a good person. You did all these girls wrong. You do these girls dirty. You know what I mean? You did these girls dirty. But what you're going to do is you're going to find a new girl. You're going to show her a person that you're not even you yourself, but you need her to believe in that. So that way she will speak to that person. Oh, London is so awesome. He bought me a car. He took me on a trip. He changed my life. I used to clean hotels with a bucket and some soap. And now I'm pushing a Lambo truck in Beverly Hills. Like, he really is awesome. So now because you're famous, your followers will experience London under track through your eyes, through your experiences, through your pictures, through your videos. So like, oh, she seems happy because before London, she had a bucket and a mop. And remember, like back in the day, also, Summer used to say that she didn't take showers. She did like something in a bucket. I don't know what she was talking about. Okay. So like, you like, oh, you see Summer bucket and mop and whatever, and a little bit of soap, Donnie soap, you know what I'm saying? And then when she's introduced to London on the track, she's living well. She's making music. She's going on tour. She's famous. She's glowed up. She's around a bunch of celebrities. So, oh no, London can't be a bad person. Look how he changed Summer's life. Look how he's so helpful to Summer. Look how he goes in the studio with Summer. Look at what he does for Summer. Da, 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 da. But all of this is orchestrated manipulation. All of this is orchestrated PR. Because as long as you can have two women, if a woman bashes you as a man, just find another woman who will praise you. And then you'll see them start going like this, like a bunch of little chickens. And then you ain't got to do shit. Because you can be like, oh, she just mad, she just bitter. And that's what most men tell a woman, right? Oh, she won't let me go. She mad, she bitter. She sees how much I love you, blah, blah, blah. Girl, I hope you're not believing that, right? I hope you're not believing that. I really hope you're not believing that. If she's still bitter, if she still treats him this way, because he did something really awful to her. He did something really awful. And so now what he's trying to do is to pull you in his toxic web of female manipulation so that you can go and be a gladiator for his image. No. No. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you have done right by this girl, there are many girls who break up with guys and they move on just fine. There's nothing, nobody acts crazy. So if she's that hurt, if she's still that hurt, what exactly did you do to her? You're not about to buy me gifts and fool me and so that I can become a gladiator for your public persona. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And a lot of them are manipulated, right? And now look, now he's going back to the baby mamas and he's paying one of the ladies to attack Summer Walker. So you see how he is? He's not a good person. He's not a good person. He's not a good person. If you date a man and the majority of his exes have nothing good to say about him, sis, and you're the only one in your brand new relationship to say something good about this man, girl, please. He's playing with you. Because everybody is an average of what people got to say about them. So if the majority of people that you meet about this man only have bad things to say about him, he's not a good man. You see this? Believe them. Same thing with Sierra. You start to see the stuff like that, like, nah, why would you even bother with that kind of situation? This is who he is. This is who he is. If a man has contention with every single one of his exes, no, he's not a good man. He's not even a man yet. He's a boy. Because a man would have handled all this stuff. He would have handled all these females. But he can't. He can't. And he's going to do to you what he did to them. And Sierra found out. Don't, like they say, don't listen to what somebody says. Look at their actions. And if all you see is a bunch of damaged women, all you see is a bunch of children being raised by single mothers while he's living the life, this is what you need to believe. This is who he really is. And if he comes into your life, he will wreak havoc into your life. Because his entire life is a hot-ass mess. So if he comes into your life, he's going to turn your life into a hot-ass mess. Trust what you see. Trust what you see. If a man goes from relationship to another relationship and he's just as devastating as a hurricane category 5, believe that. Run for your life. Evacuate. This and it. This and it. Now look at Summer Walker. Like, you see this? He's not a good person. Not a good person. Now he's going to go find another girl. Give her the world. That's the same thing for Tyrese also. Same thing for Tyrese. Instead of dealing with how he treated his wife, how he the kind of, because that's his second marriage, right? Instead of dealing with like, why do I treat people like this? Why do all my relationships end up like this? No, he gonna go chase a child, a girl who don't know much from an island somewhere, a clueless little girl, and give her like the stupid stuff, food, restaurant, dessert with little like this. What is this? What's this? It's nothing to him. But because she's never experienced that, she's thinking like he's her messiah. Food, hotels, bath water with what? Maybe a little bit of soap from Lush. I don't know. Like, oh my gosh. Because you're still a child. And that's the thing. Like a lot of girls also like are very childish, right? Very childish. You think somebody buying you stuff is a testament of their love. You think when somebody leaves his wife for you and takes you on trips that he loves you. No. No, they're predators. They're predators. You know what I mean? And because so many of these young, the sad thing today, like the sad thing I see today with so many of our young little sisters, right? They think womanhood is all about their bodies. They think being a woman is all about the body. I'm like, they're going to use you, my baby. They're going to use you. And somewhere, whether it's the fathers, the women, the mothers, the sisters, or whatever, I think we have failed the little sisters in teaching them that womanhood, it's a mindset. It's a subconscious thing. It's not so much like, oh, you dress sexy and this and that. No, because you're going to do all of that. And it's beautiful to look at. But most men, after they have sex with you, it's gone. The thrill is gone. Ever heard that song? The thrill is gone, baby. The thrill is gone. If all you are is a pretty thing to look at, once they have sex with you, it's over. Okay, on to the next. There are so many girls that look like you. There's so many pretty girls out here. There's so many of them. It's hard to keep up. Even if I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many pretty people. So my thing is like, imagine you put yourself in a situation where you think, like, oh, I'm a grown woman and I'm sexy and wear all the sexy clothes. No problem. You get attention, like, because men are very visual. You will get attention. And then after they bamboozle you, they have sex with you, on to the next. So now like your coochie becomes a revolving door. In and out. It goes in and out. In and out. So what's the song by Lotto? It goes in and out, in and out. Because womanhood, being a woman, being a grown woman, is not just about being sexy. There are even men who are attracted to like animal sex. There are some guys out here who will have sex with a dog because they find that to be sexy too. You know what I mean? So you got to understand, like, yes, you're young, yes, you're pretty, but listen, there's so many pretty girls. And like how you look, you can't really treat that as like, oh, I'm so pretty. So, girl, a lot of these pretty girls, they get passed around like cigarette butts. Passed around. Because there's no substance. There's no substance. And we think, because we look at the Kardashians, right? And I really think like the Kardashians, they like that show, that family being on TV has done so much harm to young ladies, all of them, white, black, Asian, whatever. So many young ladies have lost themselves because the Kardashians are vapid people. These are girls without substance, and it's like, you can want to look like a Kardashian. You can aspire to have Kardashian things, but even the man don't want them. All of them failed relationships. All of them are begging losers to stay with them. All of them are dating a bunch of has-beens. Like, look at Kanye. Left that lady with all the kids, and she's still chasing him to be her husband. That's really sad. That's so sad. Like, you look this good, and you're begging this crazy nut to be your husband. He don't even want to live in the same house as you. Kanye has moved to Wyoming years ago. He doesn't even talk to her. She goes through his security. Like, she probably has to book a date with him. Like, I want to see you, Kanye. You have to play along these stupid games of wearing ski masks or stockings on your face for him to see value in you. You got to go play all his little stupid games. I'm not doing that with you. You think James can tell me to put a stocking on my face? I'm actually do it. What is this? Like, what is going on here? What is going on here? Look at Chloe chasing sperm from a man who runs every third trimester. It's sad. It's really sad. And it goes to show you, beauty don't keep nobody. Beauty does not make for a happy home. Beauty does not make for a successful relationship. You know what I mean? Like, no. They say Kylie Jenner is so beautiful. Kylie Jenner, baby mama. You got all this beauty. You have all this money. You have all this success, and you can't even command monogamy out of one man. And look at him, Travis Scott. What he look like? This is a joke. Like, you chasing after this man. He don't even care. Maybe at first, oh, it's Kylie Jenner. You think after he banged her, he cared? Like, okay. She's just another PUSSY to him. He bangs a whole bunch of girls every single day. He don't care. He's not there to raise the kid. She raises the kid by herself. And she's going to raise this one by her damn self also. He don't care. These dudes, they treat these girls like trash. They don't care. Nobody puts them on a pedestal besides black women. Like, even these black men that they chase, pursue, they don't put them on the pedestal. They treat them like they would treat any black woman out here. Impregnate them and leave them. They're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. You got Kim out here with 4 kids and no daddy. Birthday parties, no daddy. School and no daddy. Kanye is living his life in Wyoming. He doesn't care. He cares more about his music than being a husband. He cares more about his music than being a father. And she's still trying to make it work with someone who tells her, I'm not in love with you. I only got with you because of what you represented in pop culture. Like, this is insane. Like, it's like they're all mediocre. You got Courtney out here, Courtney, the oldest one, with Travis Barker. He's such a has-been. He is such a has-been. I'm like, they date nothing but losers. They procreate with nothing but losers. They're single mothers crying after a bunch of mediocre-ass black men who don't want them. And they still open their legs to be inseminated for more kids by men who don't want them. Like, it's so sad. Like, these girls have serious daddy issues. It's so pathetic. They go say that you're a billion. People say, oh, she's a billionaire. She's worth 900 million. And she's a baby mother. 2 kids by a man who don't even propose to her. He's more in love with syrup than he's in love with that white girl. Like, are we serious right now? And I hope a lot of young ladies who you build everything around how you look because you think Kardashians are goals. You think money is gold. Self-respect is goals, yo. Self-respect is goals, man. Because look how these ladies turned out. Look how they turned out. Look how they turned out. It's sad. Kanye is in a whole nother relationship with that model girl. He's in that girl, Irina, whatever her name is. He's in a whole relationship with the model chick. And you, the wife, you're begging to be on his agenda. It couldn't be me, child. Like, he was never your husband. Like, Kanye, not like the man lives in Wyoming. Kanye is done what you says. Like, what you trying to make it work? Like, what is there to make it work? Like, it's so sad. It's so sad because these are not people of substance. They're not. But then you have people who are not as like doing all of this and putting everything into their looks though. Look how, like, look at Mrs. Washington, like Denzel Washington's wife. Then she out here looking crazy. Look at Savannah James. She ain't out here looking crazy. There are so many black women who do not aspire to be Kardashians, and they're not out here looking crazy. Savannah's husband is a billionaire. LeBron is a billionaire, child. Or he's worth $1 billion. I don't know. But there are billions out there, child. You don't see Savannah be like, oh, I got to always be overexposed. And no, Savannah minds her business. But her husband is a billionaire. It's not, her husband has a whole building to himself at the Nike place over there. LeBron's got real money. LeBron is a real man of influence and affluence. Like, look, people respect LeBron James. Like, people have a lot of respect for King LeBron. Like, don't play with him. And you don't see Savannah out here trying to do all this foolishness. No. That's why I love Savannah a whole lot. I love Savannah a whole lot. She minds her business. She minds her black business. She is comfortable. No, her husband could cheat. That's fine. I would never say, like, oh, I think a basketball player is faithful. I don't think he's faithful. But she's not out here looking crazy, though. She's not out here looking crazy. You're not going to see LeBron go file for divorce and then bring some weird chick, model chick, all up in her face. No. He's not out here embarrassing her. He's not. He's at home with the kids. Even if he cheats, he's at home. He raises the children. He goes to soccer practice. He's there for Zuri. Like, you see him with the children. You see him. Kanye left the girl with the kids. Just gone. God knows what he does at the ranch over there. Kanye has a whole new relationship with the model girl. Come on now. And you're still running behind him with black stockings on your face trying to make it work. Like, he makes a mockery out of you. This is crazy. This is really, really crazy. This is so crazy. This is insane. Like, this is just insane to me. It is insane. Yeah, LeBron, like, listen, ladies, let's me, Marlene, listen, we're gonna talk grown people business, huh? When you marry people of that stature, like, when your husband is a multi-billionaire, when your husband is, temptation is real, y'all, and people gonna fall into it. Just like I told you guys before, I said I would not be surprised also if they came out and said that, oh, Stephon Curry had an affair. I would be surprised. You know what I mean? That's why I don't even understand his daddy, like, oh, I'm gonna divorce my wife because she cheated. Like, you didn't cheat? I don't understand that part. You know what I mean? I don't understand that part. You cheated too, uncle. Like, okay. So your wife cheated. Okay. Y'all even. Do you really have to come and drag this out here? Like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, right? So there's certain realities that come with life. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain reality that comes with life. But at least when you fall short into your temptation, I do appreciate a man who has enough respect for his wife, enough respect for his children to keep that stuff in quarantine. Like, he doesn't have Savannah out here looking stupid. Kanye does. How can you tell your wife to walk out here with stocking on her face? Like, what is all this stuff is an experiment for him. He doesn't respect her. He doesn't, like, Kanye's evil. He's not a good person. Like, he never liked him, always trying to change her, always trying to change how she dressed, always trying to make her feel insecure. Like, yo, I'm not a big Kim Kardashian fan, but at the same time, though, like, this dude is not right. He's not right. And the fact that she doesn't even have enough self-respect for herself to understand, like, yo, you will never be what Kanye wants, because Kanye is in love with Kanye. That's the truth. But how irresponsible is it for a man to leave 4 black children with a white woman? How's she gonna raise them kids? How's she gonna teach them how to be black? Like, at least be a black presence in the household. Like, are you nuts? Are you nuts? He doesn't care. Birthday parties, he doesn't show up. Like, he's not even involved in their life. All he cares about is Kanye, Yeezy, music, money. What about your kids? And whether I like him or not, it's a very evil to leave a woman with 4 children, even if she's rich. And so what? Even if she can afford nannies, the kids, they still need their father. And you agreed to make these children with her. She didn't coerce you. But, like, always changing her. When he first got with her, he tried to turn her into Amber Rose. And she doesn't have the build for it. Amber is taller. So Amber can carry all these curves and all that ass better because she's taller. Kim is not. He had Kim out here looking stupid. He's always making her look stupid. Coming to her life, taking her entire closet out. Almost $1 million worth of clothes. Threw it all in the garbage. Like, this dude he's not a good person. He's not a good person. Always having issues with her. Then he said, oh, you need to be more of a Christian. You're a mother now. But what the hell? When you needed her sexuality to help you get out of debt, for you to sell more records, for you to be seen as a man out here, you didn't mind that she was super sexual. Now that you paid your debt, now that you're finessing this whole Jesus thing, now you want her to, like, what is this? I'm not a big Kim Kardashian fan. But at the same time, like, I don't like to see women be abused. Like, this is wrong. Kanye is emotionally abusive to Kim. But it's like LeBron's, though. LeBron cheats. Most likely. LeBron has cheated. Most likely. But my thing is, it's like, this is not something that he puts into his children's face. They're not going to wake up in the morning and read it in the news. Oh, daddy has a new girlfriend. Daddy is jet setting across Paris and Europe with his new girlfriend. Daddy's not coming home for a year because he's sleeping at the Mercedes Dome soup. Like, what is this? What is this mess? What is this mess? What is this mess? And you don't see, for as much as he might cheat, I don't even know who he cheats with. I don't know what his type is when he has affairs. I don't know. But my thing is, like, you don't see Savannah out here have the need to change her body, have the need to do breast implant, butt implants. Like, no. She is her, that's her natural body. Like, that's her natural face. She gonna glam it up, though, but she's confident in her, like, whatever. So whatever he does, at least it don't affect her that she wants to change her whole body. But people like Kanye, they make women want to do this and like, always laying on the table, always doing stuff to them. So, like, this could get them killed. You know? Because the reality of it is, like, yo, listen. The reality of it is, too, if your husband, exactly, like, if you're a husband, like, because we got to also have, like, honest conversation about stuff, right? If you are married to a basketball player or to an athlete, they spend the majority of the time on the road. That is the reality of it. You know what I mean? They spend the majority of the time. If you don't have kids, if there are no kids involved, you can probably go and be freak nasty, whatever. You can go live on the road with him. You know, but once you have children, you cannot always leave your kids to go be with the husband, especially when he's going to be out there for 6 months at a time. Now it's like people have needs. I'm being honest. You're gonna have a sex need. You got a sex need. You might not always be able to be there when he has a need. Now, would it be nice for him to masturbate? I think so, right? But maybe it gets to a point where it's like masturbation becomes boring. I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not a man. So it could be that maybe once in a while people gonna have sex with people because they just gotta get that stuff out their body. Okay. Is it a good thing to do? No. Is it what adults do? Yes. Is it what rich adults do? Yes. But the thing is like, how far do you let that thing go though? You know what I mean? Do you put the woman in a position where she catches feelings for you and she feels like, oh, we're going to stay together. He going to leave the wife? No, you can't do that. Sis, this is what this is, right? Do you put the woman in a position where, oh, I'm going to have unprotected sex with you like Dwayne did or whatever and she get pregnant or Melo did? Oh, no. You know what I mean? Because at a certain level, you guys, at a certain level of success and fame, things just start being a little different. Now, if you're a regular man, you make regular money out here, you don't get these kinds of passes. I'm like, you because you can't afford enough of that. Like, nah. Okay. But if your husband is like gone 6 months, 9 months out the year, like, you know what I'm saying? He's not a virgin. I don't think he's also going to practice celibacy. I mean, it'll be nice though, but most will not. Once in a while, yeah, somebody's going to give into temptation. You know what I mean? But you would hope that the person will at least have enough respect to not let the girl think that it is more than what it actually is. You would also hope that the person would have enough respect for you to let her know, no, I just needed to get this out of me. That's it. Don't catch feelings. You would also hope that your husband will make somebody sign an NDA. Don't talk about this shit, bitch. I'm gonna fucking kill you. You know what I mean? You would hope also that your husband be like, you know what? I don't know. I'm going to bring no disease to my wife. We're going to wear a condom. I'm going to use spermicide and clean your vagina. And you're going to take a quick test real quick. Listen. It's life, you guys. It's life. And people got to be real about certain things. But it's real. It comes with their lifestyle. It comes with what they do. But at least have some respect. Be there for the family. Be there for the kids. Your dirt, your nastiness, your messiness, don't bring it into somebody's home. You guys, it's real. Let's say Jimmy was like a famous basketball player, right? If my husband was a famous basketball player, if Jimmy was making like $200 million a year and he wasn't here all the time, I would truly love for my husband to be faithful. But it's like realistically, if we only gonna see each other 3 months out of the year, women can practice celibacy really good. Women can be asexual really easily. For men, it's really hard for them because they got to get rid of this stuff. And it's the truth. You know what I mean? It's the truth. But my issue is if somebody making regular money out here, no. See, these kinds of privileges come with a certain kind of income. Like if your husband's a billionaire, okay, at least we have billions, right? But you can't be somebody who makes 100,000, makes 60,000, 50,000, 200,000, 400,000, and think that you can do that's above your pay. You can't afford this. You can't afford that. You know what I mean? So it's like people have an understanding, and that's the truth. And it is what it is, right? Because even me, I keep telling you, I said to y'all, I don't think most men are monogamous. I think most men are polygamous, but y'all get upset when I say that, but it's the truth. But I'm like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like Amber Rose's boyfriend, whatever he is, he doesn't get that kind of stuff because who is he? He's a nobody. He ain't got that. He's not recognized. He don't have no money. He's not successful. He's not a pillar. Like nobody knows you. If anything, she made you famous. So you need to get your butt at home. You can't do stuff like this. But when you are like, if you're with someone of a certain like huge like that, child, girl, you know what I'm saying? That's, because even in African culture, right? Polygamy is not for poor people. You got to be able to afford it, right? Like it's a sign, it's a symbol of wealth. Like people who are usually polygamous, the kings were polygamous, like the noble people were polygamous. It's like rich people are polygamous because they got the money. They can afford it. They can make sure that every single wife is in a good condition. Every wife has the same thing. They can do that. And they're for poor people. So if you're making regular money, you need to be monogamous because you can afford it. So mind your business. Like it's above your pay grade. You know what I mean? It's above your pay grade. But you wouldn't be surprised, like all these like very famous people, you wouldn't be surprised if things have happened in their life. I wouldn't be surprised. But it's how you handle what happens. Like that's the thing, right? It's like you gotta have respect for your day one. Like you gotta have respect for your wife. Like certain things she should never hear about. Certain things they should never even make it to her phone. Her friends shouldn't hear. Nobody should hear about it. Maybe you and your attorney should know about it. Because when you get to a certain level, if you decide to have affairs and to have side chicks, all these hoes need to sign NDAs. You guys, like, stuff is real. Stuff is real. Right. And that's why a lot of women, like, you're not built, not to be offensive, not to say like you're not pretty, you're not whatever, but you're just not you're not built to deal with men of a certain income, because you're just gonna be crying all the time. Instead of recognizing, like, this is what comes with this territory, like this is what comes with that. Right. And so if you're very sensitive and you're like, oh, I can't take it, you need to stay with someone who makes like 6 figures, 7 figures. That's where you stay. But if you say, oh, I want to marry a billionaire, a multi-millionaire, a CEO, someone who's always going to be gone, always chasing money. Well, sis, you know what? Since that's the lifestyle that you want, you have to make accommodations for that. Right. Like if they come out and tell you that, oh, Steve Harvey has a side piece, like, would it really surprise you? No, but you probably will never hear about it because she probably signed an NDA. You know what I'm saying? She probably does. So you probably would never hear about it. But for some people too, I mean, when you get to that level of money, maybe for some people, maybe for some of these men also, maybe having that also on the side, it helps them to be better husbands because, you know, I don't know, because maybe it's a stress reliever. I don't know. But these celebrities, these players are not home. They're not home. So unless you plan to be on the road with him, to satisfy his needs all the time like that, it's gonna be a problem. Like I had one of my little sisters too, like she was telling me a story because, you know, she was trying to practice celibacy. So I guess she's practicing celibacy, but then she met a guy during her practicing celibacy. So she's practicing celibacy. So I guess she thought they were together on the specific date. I don't think he knew that they were together on a specific date. So he smashed another girl. So I guess the girl was I don't know, but somehow she found out that he smashed the girl on this specific date. So she was upset and she wanted to break up with him because she was sad. I was like, why? You said what happened? She finally told me. I was like, well, you gotta be grown about certain things, right? You're practicing celibacy. He's not. Makes sense. Like you can't say to someone, oh, I just met you. We're getting to know each other. I think I would like to have a relationship with you. But because I'm practicing celibacy, you should also be celibate. You cannot do that. You've made a choice to be celibate. The person can and most likely, yeah, the person most and will likely still have sex because they haven't decided to be celibate. You have decided to be celibate. I'm like, you're going to have to get to a point where you kind of are like, you have to make peace with that, right? You want to be celibate. He's okay with having sex. Now, you don't have to have sex with him. And he's like, okay, fine. You don't have to have sex with me. But you cannot tell somebody, right? You cannot tell somebody to not have sex. If the person is not a virgin, like if you meet a man and he's always had sex, like let's say you meet somebody, he's 27, he's 29, 32, whatever, 35. You cannot tell a grown person that they're not going to have sex because you don't want to have sex. They just met you. Like, this is crazy. Right? Like, what if this doesn't last? Like, that's just crazy. Right? But it's like if you guys work together and then both of y'all decide to practice celibacy, that's one thing. But if you say, oh, I'm celibate, but I'm going to be out here in the dating scene, I'm a date guy, oh, I'm celibate, so I'm not going to have sex with you. You cannot expect the other person to stop having sex. He's going to keep going on dates with you because he's trying to get to know you. But if he has sex with other people, you shouldn't get your feelings hurt because you said you don't want to have sex. He's okay, cool, not to have sex, but they're going to have sex with somebody. You know what I mean? Like this, like the sex thing, like it's really important for a lot of men. So you can't, that's part of their stuff. That's just part of their being. That's part of their day. That's part of their routine. That's part of their culture. That's part of what makes them men is having sex. So you can't take that away from someone if that's something that somebody really enjoys doing. She's like, oh my gosh. I was like, well, so you have to forgive it because it's a very like it's not so black and white, right? It's not, you cannot tell someone you just met a week or 2 weeks ago or a month ago, oh well, I expect you to be celibate because you and I are talking. Y'all just know each other for a month. You know, vice versa. If a man says he's celibate and he just meets a girl and he likes her, he would like for them to keep going forward. Should the girl just stop having sex because he's celibate? You know, that has to come from within. But you can't make people not do what they do because you don't want to do it. You see what I'm saying? Like, because that's the part too, right? That's because that's a gray area, like people don't like to really talk about, right? But it's like even in the marriage too, like because that can also be another problem in the marriage too. Like if you are someone who likes sex, if you're someone who enjoys, she said, would you be shocked if Russell Wilson was cheating? Why would it shock you? Why? A lot of people that we see on social media, they're giving us like a representation. They're giving us PR identities, right? But Russell is a man like any other. You know, and I'm going to ask you another question too, right? I'm going to ask you another question, Queen. If a man is good, like let's say a man is like, he's a good father, he's a good provider, he's a good husband, he's a good friend, he's a great earner, okay? If the husband cheats, let's say you have a really awesome, even me, like let's say James, let's say my husband has an affair, right? Not wishing it, but whatever. But let's say my husband has an affair. If you are with someone and they really are a good person, if they have an affair, does that mean that all of a sudden the person is like horrible? Does it mean that, oh, the person is no worthless? Oh my gosh, that's the horrible man. People have weaknesses. We all do. So it could be, you know, like Russell, he's raising somebody else's son. That's not his son, right? He's done a lot. Most men wouldn't even looked at Sierra twice because Future is too much baggage. Who wants to have Future as a forever fixture in their relationship? I would, if I was a man, I'm not dealing with no girl that Future is your baby dad. I'm like, you, how are you even thinking that this man was able to bust in you and get you pregnant? Like, are you serious? So it's a lot of things that he's done for her. You know what I mean? He's a great provider. He's a great man. He's bought her out. Like, he's a really nice. If one time he messes up and he has an affair, is it a nice thing? No. Do you wish it would have happened? No. But listen, of all the things he's done, if he has this one thing on his, like this little blotch, listen, you had a baby with Future. That's also some fucked up shit, right? So if he can overlook that, you should also be able to overlook if he had an affair. We got to stop putting people on like these weird pedestals. Like, people are humans. Now, if Russell makes cheating a ministry, that would shock me. Because I would be like, okay, if you fall once, you know, it happens. You know, things happen. Things, they do happen. But if Russell Wilson makes cheating a ministry, that's what would shock me. But any man falling into a situationship with another lady that's not his wife, if you've been married for a very long time, things happen. Things happen. You know, because like you see it a lot too here. Like, oh, a man cheats, oh, it's over, my marriage is over. It's like, okay, but girl, like, come on now. Like, if it's like one time, if it's something that really happened, like, okay, it happened. But when somebody makes a ministry, they make an office out of cheating. Like, they are so comfortable that at that point you no longer have a marriage because obviously he's gone. You know what I mean? But things do happen. And there are wives also who cheat, right? It happens. Now, if the wife only has one, if there's one time, that one thing is, oh my gosh, that was a mistake, I'm so sorry. Like, okay, cool, whatever. We move past it. But it's like, my only issue is when people make a ministry out of something, because things happen in the marriage, y'all. So many things happen in the marriage. There are times in the marriage that people can become emotionally disconnected. There are times also in the marriage where you feel like, well, maybe this is not going to last. Maybe this is over. So then you meet somebody and then you have great conversation. You're like, oh, I really like him. I really like her. And then y'all start having a bond. And next thing you know, pop, 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 shots are going off, right? There are times also where it's like, the woman don't want to have sex. The men want to have sex. It's like, it's been a year. Some women haven't had sex with their husbands in a year. You know, there are women who go even 6 months without having sex with the husband. So should the person just stay there for a whole year because you don't want to have sex? Like, you know, like it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of stuff that go on in the marriages. So is it like if a woman puts out, like if a woman doesn't have sex with her husband for 6 months to a year, what is he supposed to make of that? The same thing goes for a woman. If your man doesn't want to have sex with you hasn't had sex with you in 6 months, if your husband hasn't had sex with you in a year, what are you supposed to make of that? What do you do in the situations? Right? This conversation will end up on Patreon. But it's like, what do you make? Like, what do you do with that? Do you just masturbate? Okay. But then after that, do you just keep on masturbating like you're a kid? Like, I mean, like, what the heck is going on here? You know what I mean? And that's the thing people don't talk about. Like, right? What happens when you are in a marriage where one person is withholding sex, or one person is holding with intimacy. She'd be like, okay, I'm not going to do it because if I divorce him, okay. She said divorce him. Somebody might be like, I don't want to divorce you, but I sure will find something. I sure will find something somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff is really real. Because a lot of ladies don't have sex. You know what I mean? Well, you see what I'm saying, Lizzie? Like, it becomes a really grown conversation because you do have marriages where people haven't had sex in 6 months. Some people haven't had sex in a whole year. Some people even haven't had sex in 2 years. So, like, okay, when people stop having sex in a marriage for like 6 months, a year, 2 years, is that even a marriage though? Because if you're with somebody and y'all don't even have intimacy, you even have couples who sleep in different beds. But y'all not gonna know about this though. But you have couples who sleep in different beds. Like, one sleeps here, one sleeps over there. One sleeps upstairs, one sleeps downstairs, right? When you find yourself in that situation, what do you do? If your wife says to you like, "Oh, don't touch me," if your wife doesn't want to have sex with you, or every time you touch her, she's like, "Ugh, ugh, ooh, ooh, ooh." Okay, if your wife acts like she's disgusted by you touching her, right? If your wife acts like, "Ugh, ugh, ooh, ugh, ugh," Libby says sleeping in a different room is called a sleep divorce. Exactly. So, because you have ladies who don't want to be touched, it happens. You have ladies like they get really angry. You touch them, you get close to them, they just lose their shit. So after a while, like, yo, let me not touch you. I don't want no problem. So if the man says, well, my wife doesn't want to have sex with me, or when I get close to her, she doesn't want me to touch her, especially pregnancy. Postpartum does a lot of things on females. People don't talk about it, but, I'm putting this video on Patreon. I don't want anybody to come for me. I'm innocent, right? But in that situation, what should the man do? Should he just go along with her? So then it's 1 year, it's 2 years, it's 3 years? Or should he go have sex and satisfy his needs? Like, boom, let me just go have sex real quick. So that way it's fine. I won't touch you, but at least I got somewhere like boop, 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 boop. You know what I'm saying? Because that also needs to be, oh, you cheated on me. You weren't trying to have sex with him for a whole year, though. What are we talking about? Because there are ladies who push their husbands out and then they act surprised that he went out. I'm confused. I am very confused. What do you want? Like, spell this stuff for me because I don't understand it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like if you push somebody out and then Queen, I mean, it could happen. There are married people really have eyes for each other, right? But my thing is, like, you gotta be a realist to some extent too, right? Like, for example, too, like, oh my gosh, this is just so early for this conversation, but whatever. But like, for example, let's say you marry someone. You're a man, you married, like sometimes you can have a situationship where like two people are married. They really love each other. They love their marriage. They love they love everything about their union, right? But sexually, they're not compatible. Okay, Queen, you can have you can have a situation where the husband is very good at sex. Okay. Then you can have a situationship where the woman is not. And then you also, especially when it gets to very like Christian, super spiritual marriages. Like, I remember one time we had Bible study with my cousin. I think I told y'all this story. We had Bible study with my cousin, and one of the guys was asking about fellatio, like, and my cousin said that God doesn't like that people give the fellatio. Well, you should have seen the man's face. He was so sad. He was like, huh? What? I think I'm gonna stop being a Christian. But you have certain churches also that preach certain doctrines when it comes to sex, like what you can and cannot do, what God says, blah, blah, blah. You understand what I'm trying to say? So let's say that you are, because another thing that people don't talk about too, people have different, like, you can have multiple orgasm, right? Like, most women can have two. I don't know. I'm not a man. I think most men can have 2, 3. I don't know. But usually, like, a woman can have one orgasm, but it's not enough. Like, she felt something, but she's not completely out like a light. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to talk about? Okay. So, but another man too, he just like, how Drake said, like, Drake was like, 2 times is not gonna hold me, you gotta go twice, whatever he said. I read that song, but he talks about that too. Like, for some men also, like, 1 time might not be enough. Exactly, right? 1 time might not be enough. Like, you have some people, they need like fellatio, and then they need like penetration type of thing, right? And then they're really good. Otherwise, they're not good. Like they're like, oh, I'm still itching. So if you let's say so you if you marry someone and then both of you guys are not like on the same sexual scale kind of thing, that person is like, yeah, I had sex, but I wasn't really satisfied though. But they don't want to tell you because they don't really want to hurt your feelings. You see what I'm saying? Because what if your husband says to you, wife, I love you, but you're not as interesting as I wanted you to be? A lot of ladies, they can't take that. You know what I mean? A lot of ladies, they can't take that. Like they'll start being crushed and, you know, so I guess, like, okay, let's just don't tell her. Right. But it's like, oh my gosh, I have a problem because when I sleep with my wife, it's just not enough because I'm used to more. But if I tell her that, it might be a problem, right? Just like with Deval and Kadeem, because the way Deval likes to have sex, it got to a point it was making her body sick. Because I'm like, damn, are you that of a nymphomaniac? So it's like you can have guys like that are they have a very high sex drive to the point that it can make the woman sick. Like the rest of like, oh, she would have like UTIs, she would have like all this stuff, like she would have a lot of issues with her vagina. So her body physically couldn't keep up with this man. So then she told him, go get a side chick, and he did. So I guess then having two women then he was like fully out. Like then he was fully satisfied. Like, you know, like stuff is very interesting, right? Stuff is really interesting. Like that's why I'm telling you, like 36, you get to a point like 36 years old, you understand like life is not so black and white. There are a lot of gray areas. There are a lot of gray areas. And it's not always like pleasing to the ear, but it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, what do you do in this situation? And a woman too, what do you do in this? Because a lot of men also have erectile dysfunctions, right? And maybe you're a woman, like you might be more advanced than your husband. So you know certain things that you like, and you know certain thing. Yeah, he did. He even talked about in the Breakfast Club. Like, you don't listen to their podcast, Dead Ass. What's it called? Dead Ass? Is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Because she couldn't take it. Like her body couldn't take it. So it's not like he doesn't love her. But at the same time, he's not satisfied. So it's like there are people who can have sex with the wife, they can masturbate, and then they still have more. Like it's real, y'all. It's real. People don't talk about this stuff. Please don't come for me. I didn't do nothing. I'm innocent. Okay, I didn't do anything. I'm innocent, right? But it's like it really, really happens. You also have wives who are not sexually satisfied by their husband, but they don't want to say anything because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings. But she loves him though. But it's just that when it comes to sex, she's not fully satiated. So she might have a little, or even some wives also have a vibrator, right? Because they're not fully done, but the husband is completely out like a light and then he's snoring. You know, like people don't talk about that, but like sex is it's a real thing in the marriages, huh? It's real. People are, oh, the Bible. I mean, yeah, that's cute and all, but like then we have real issues here too, right? Because also, like, let's say like you have a man who likes fellatio, but because you go to a church and then they're telling you like, oh, it's not God-like. Oh, well, it's not God-like, so I'm not doing it. That's going to create some problems. Because if someone, before he met you, ever since he started being sexually active until he got with you, he was always getting fellatio. So now because of you and your Bible and your pastor, he should stop getting head? Like, make it make sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Just like the same thing also on the other foot, right? If you're a woman and ever since you've been sexually active, you've always gotten fellatio, and now you have a husband because of his Bible and his pastor. He says, well, I don't believe in giving a woman fellatio. Are you gonna stop? This becomes interesting. I'm just gonna say it, like these becomes really, really interesting, you know what I mean? Conversations here, right? Because it's like, what do you do? Do you say, okay, since my wife or my husband doesn't believe in that, I'm going to deny something that I need to feel, because sex is part of being a human being, right? Like, especially as an adult, like, you know, it's real. Are you going to like not do it? Like, are you going to say, oh, I'm going to completely do away with this thing because my husband or my wife doesn't want to do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do in those situations, right? What do you do? I don't know. You know, she said one of my friend had a boyfriend like that. He was Muslim, and he said that fellatio was not of God, so she had to go without. Okay, I mean, as long as you're comfortable with it, right? You know what I mean? Because these are because if the shoe was on the other foot, and if he was used to it, he wouldn't have an issue with you doing it. You know what I mean? So this is like these are real conversations, right? You know what I mean? Like if your husband has a really high sex drive, and in your heart of heart, you know that you can't keep up with his sex drive, do you say, "Oh, husband, I know you have a really hard, I know you have a high sex drive. I can't really satisfy your sex drive. So for the rest of our marriage, which might be like 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, I just want you to just bring it on down and just deny yourself?" Or do you say like, "I just don't want to find out about it"? You know what I mean? Like these are really you see, she said he had no issues. So when she does it to him, it's of God. But him doing to her is not of God. You see this foolishness? So, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, and these are conversations that people have to decide in their marriage. Like, you know, as couples, like they have to decide that kind of stuff because, and a lot of people are not really honest about certain things, especially when it comes to sex. A lot of people, they're not honest. They don't tell the truth about what they want, how they really feel, what they're receiving, what they think of what they're receiving. They don't really talk about that kind of stuff, right? So it creates a lot of issues. Exactly, Elena, because it's a really real. It's a very real, you know. She say, "Stay blessed, everyone." Interesting discussion this morning or afternoon. No, but it's really real, you know. And that's the thing too, because we all have a past, right? We all have a past when we get married. You have your past, he has his past. You have your experiences, he has his experiences. You have your expectation, he got his expectation. So you know what I mean. So it's like, you know. But if you recognize that, because a lot of couples don't have the same, they don't match sexually. You have couples where the wife is completely uninterested in sex. Like she could have sex once a month, or she could have sex like once every blue moon, and she'll be fine. And then you have a husband like he would like to have sex like every other day or every 3 days. So then what do people do in these? What do you do? And so if the wife says, "Well, I'm not willing to learn to enjoy sex more. I'm not willing to be more sexual for you, or I'm not willing to change. I just want to have sex every 6 months." Like, what does the man do? And what if he really loves her? He doesn't want to divorce her. But she's like, "Well, I'm not changing also." It's like, well, I don't know. This is really interesting. Like, what do you do? What do you do? And and that's why I think a lot of people also have affairs because they don't want to have these conversations. So they rather just go do whatever. Like, okay, I'll just take this into my own hands, you know. But you know, a lot of people is freaky. And then a lot of freaky people marry a lot of non-freaky people. And then it creates a lot of creates a lot of issues, right? You know what I mean? But if you have like that's I'm thinking people who work out a lot have a lot of stamina. I'm like, if you have a husband that's like a professional athlete, how many times a day can he go? You know, and you might be like, "I can't keep up with you. Like, it's just too much. I love you though, but I can't keep up with you." Because I was on the Breakfast Club when Kadeen and Duvall went there. He was like, "Yeah, she couldn't keep up with him because he really loves sex." Like, if you want, I mean, look, they got all these kids. You know what I mean? They got like 4 kids. So you know he loves sex, child. But he talks about sex all the time. Like on their podcast, he talks about sex all the time. And he even like one time, this is really how I found them because they had a video that went viral. And he was saying, "Well, if you can't put out, like if you can't give me as much sex as I need, why do you expect me to be monogamous?" And like Kadeem just looked at him. I'm like, sometimes she laughs at that stuff, but I know she's super uncomfortable. Cause I'm like, damn, so it's like it's one thing to have these conversations in private, but to have them in front of everybody, I don't know. I just couldn't do that. But he was like, "Yeah, like that's the clip that went viral." He was like, "Well, if you can't put out as much as I want you to, why do you expect me to be monogamous?" And it's like, oh my gosh. I was like, this man is crazy. But I was like, you know, he kind of, and I was like, I can see where he's coming from. Right, because let's say that, and that's for everybody. Like, if you love sex, like if you really like sex is your thing, thing, Okay, like if you really are addicted to it, if you really love it, if you really enjoy it, if your partner can't keep up with you, or if your partner is not willing to be open to more of it, should you be monogamous? Hmm. That's a tough question. Oh, thank you, Judith. What's that? That's a really tough question, right? Because we like I think like because that's something that because a lot of people this is what just happened. Please don't come for me, right? But a lot of people, I think, like feel entitled. Oh, if we are in a committed relationship, if we're married, I expect you to give me monogamy. That's good. That's pretty decent. But what are you doing in return, right? But that's something that's where it gets really difficult, Fat, right? Because I'm like, if you say like if you said to somebody like, oh, because we're in a monogamous, because we're in a committed relationship, because we're married, I expect you to give me monogamy. I think that's a pretty reasonable expectation. But then it's like, but what are you willing to do also for that person to give you the monogamy that you expect, right? Because if you say, "Oh, I expect you to give me monogamy," but then the person like has sex with you once every 3 months or 6 months or once a year, is it then reasonable to expect monogamy from a person when you don't even want to practice intimacy with the person? You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like everybody has to work on themselves. Like, oh, like soul ties are very real. Soul ties are very real, right? So it's like, like, so it's like it becomes really interesting. Or like, do you say to yourself, like, I might not be very sexual, but my husband really likes sex, so I'm gonna work on myself to be a bit more sexual. Like, oh well, I might be tired, or I might not be like, I might be exhausted when I come from work, but my wife really likes sex, so maybe I'll start going to the gym so I can have more stamina. So that way, she wants to like love me or whatever. you know because I think a lot of times like people expect monogamy based on titles without actually doing the work, and that can be a problem because I can see both sides. I can see both sides. I really do, because I'm telling, like, the older you become and like the more you look at problems, like you start to see like not everything is just so cut and dry. Not everything is just so cut and dry. So it's a lot to think about, isn't it? But hopefully we all marry people and we don't have issues in the marriage. You don't have to deal with infidelity, but some people do. Unfortunately, some people do. Some people really do. You know, and it's not easy. I don't think for anybody having to have these conversations, like deal with these kinds of problems, like I don't think that's easy for anybody. Like I really don't. So I'm like, but hopefully you just meet someone you don't have these problems. And even when you do feel like there's problems, right? And that's why I think like people who are married should really communicate a lot. Like say something before it festers, right? Speak on things like, yeah, like, right, like speak on things before it becomes a problem. Don't let it get to a place where it's like it's already like rotten, like it's already bad. Communication is really important. And sometimes you can be afraid to hurt someone's feelings, so you don't say anything because you think you're doing them a favor. But then it can turn into something, worse. And it's like, as you talked about it, it wouldn't be that bad. So you got to find ways to talk to people. If you're married to someone, you have to find ways to talk to them and let them know, like, if you need something, if something is not good enough, if something could be better, you should tell the person. Talk to the person. And then they should also feel okay. They should feel safe to talk to you without losing your ish also. We like that's because a lot of time, even as a woman, it can be hard to hear someone say, like, if your husband says something to you, it could be hard to be like, you know what, he's just sharing how he's feeling, but he's not trying to put me down. Because as a woman, if your husband criticizes you or makes comments about certain things, right, it's easy to internalize it, get very defensive, want to fight somebody, cuss somebody out. So like, you know what? For as much as I didn't want to hear this, I'm glad you're telling me. Because now that I know, I can do something about, so that's the thing. But if people can't really talk to you at all because they fear your reaction, people gonna do a lot of things behind your back. Same thing goes for children. But it's like marriage it's a lot of work, y'all. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't think anybody has all the right answers. It really is a lot, you know. But people have to do their best though to be respectful. That's my thing. Like people really have to do their best to be respectful be respectful, even if mistakes happen, even if you have poor judgment, even if you don't always like, you at least have to work to be respectful. Be respectful. If you mess up, be respectful. If you're not happy, be respectful. If you are considering, just treat people how you would want to be treated, with respect. And I think from then on, a lot of things can be resolved, right? A lot of issues can be resolved. That's how I feel. But all right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this stream. Got really like touch it real quick. If you don't see it here, it'll be on Patreon. My Patreon is I care about Black issues. That's you'll see my face once you get on there. You go to the search box on Patreon and you type I care about Black issues. You will see me there. So that's where I pull out the videos, so they don't stay on YouTube, because I'm scared. I'm gonna come for me. I'm innocent. I didn't do nothing. But yeah, hope it was helpful. Hope you liked the conversation. Hope you learned something. Hope you all learned something. But ultimately, in all relationships, especially marriages that people have been together after like over a decade or so, communication is really important. Revamping the relationship is important. Trying new things. I mean, not like weird things, but new approaches, new ways of talking to each other, new ways of bonding, going on dates, trying therapy. Things are important, because you have to bring new life into your marriage. You have to bring new life into your marriage. You have to bring new life into your mindset. You have to bring life into your partner. Your partner has to bring life into you. The longer you are in a marriage, it's easy to become like emotionally detached. It's easy to become disengaged. It's easy to not care about yourself, not care about him, not care about her. It's easy to not care about sex anymore. It's easy to lose like that butterfly effect. Like, it's easy to stop being attracted. Like, oh, I love you, but it's more like a brotherly love, or like, I love you, but it's more like a sisterly love kind of thing. So you really want to work hard to like avoid falling into those pitfalls, because once you start getting into a routine where you look at your wife like your sister, and your wife looks at you like her brother, you know what I mean? Or you look at her like your roommate and she looks at you like her roommate, it's very easy for it to go left from there. You dig? So we don't want that to happen, right? So that's it, y'all. But, hopefully everybody finds a good person that loves you, respects you, honors you, cares for you, treats you how you should be treated, is mindful of your feelings, and tries their very best to not hurt you and to not set you back, because when you love someone and it's not reciprocated, it really hurts. It truly hurts. Even in friendship, right? If you love somebody as a friend and they don't love you the same way, or they don't reciprocate that, it can be very, very hurtful. It can really hurt. Like I wasted all my time being friends with this bitch. For what? It can really hurt. You know what I mean? It can really be hurtful. So, yeah. So by God's grace, we all find like decent, good people who try their best to be good people. You just gotta try to be a decent person. It ain't that hard. All right. So I do love y'all. Enjoy your Sunday. I gotta go record another video. We're doing like 31 day of prayer. So I did the first video yesterday. I'm gonna do another video today. But yeah, so that's that. So holla at your girl. Okay. Talk to you later. I'll leave it up for a bit, but if it disappears, it's like it'll be on the Patreon. I care about Black issues. Yes, y'all. Because I gotta keep talking, but I just can't leave it on YouTube because it'd be too much out here. Okay. Love y'all and enjoy your Sunday. I ain't gonna drink some water. I'm thirsty. Gotta go. Bye, people. Enjoy your Sunday. Be safe.